Well, the Summer Game Fest showcase season has started with a PlayStation State of Play, and I think this might be my favorite State of Play to date, mainly because of the two games that sort of started and ended it. Unsurprising, people are completely fabricating narratives, using really bad screenshots to do the thing we all knew they were going to do, and I'm just going to continue to say we don't need to give these people any oxygen. Celebrate games. They're obviously not enjoying them. The rest of us can. I really do think this gameplay focus was excellent. We have consistently come to showcases and said, show us gameplay, show us lengthy gameplay, uncut, raw gameplay, and we got that. This is one of the things I'm surprising, people are even saying like, oh, it was so much time wasted. People are like basically saying the God of War game was not a lot of gameplay. I'm like, that's how those games open. You apparently haven't played God of War 2018. You apparently haven't played God of War Ragnarok, and I really like the fact that we can get a lot of that simulated or cinematic stuff where you can't really get a beat on what the game feels like. There was also plenty of great third-party games and release date, and September is absolutely jammed full now. And I said I think everybody's going to try and get their games out before October. We know that that is going to be a month of lead up to GTA 6, and that marketing funnel is going to become very, very tough and very choke. So I want to kind of run through the games that kind of stood out to me. There were really only a couple that didn't really land on me. There's like a prequel to Dave the Diver and like a remaster of something. Those games really didn't say much to me, didn't really speak to me, and that's okay. Ordinarily, I go through a showcase like this, and there's a good bit of the showcase that doesn't really appeal to me. This was very different. There was almost the entire showcase had something that I would enjoy. Like, I'm not really going to be big into Ace Combat, but I know a lot of people were very excited for that one. But overall, I was very, very pleased with this showcase, and if people are angry about that, I guess they can stay mad, since I feel like a lot of these people, their anger is a precondition. They're always angry. So if you like this content, hit like and subscribe. That way you can be here for the live discussions. So let's start with Wolverine, okay? I was very, very pleased with this. My concerns were basically erased. I've got a video on the channel if you kind of want to see. I talk about how I was worried combat would get repetitive. I was a little worried it would be very just sort of punchy punch, and like, how much can you do with that? You can't give him gadgets. You're probably not going to want to give him weapons. I was very, very pleased with this. It's very visceral. It's fast. It's diverse. It's adaptive. Like, he's kind of adapting to his surroundings and using the various pieces of the area to do extra damage to people. I think the graphics, I think the art direction are great. I would expect nothing less from Insomniac. And I know people were like, well, why were you concerned? It's Insomniac. I just think it's a more difficult hero to create a combat system with that's going to have a lot of that diversity and a lot of that variety as you're playing through it. There is some stealth, but it's sort of Wolvie stealth, and I like that. I kind of told people growing up watching the Uncanny X-Men, Wolverine can sneak around and kind of sniff and find things. He's more than just a brute idiot. He is a bit of a tactician when he needs to be. Now, I know there's already dialogue about, characters in games, and anytime a woman isn't like half naked and look like she's ripped from the, the pages of a manga or an anime, people call them ugly. I don't really like the design of, I guess this is supposed to be Jean Grey. It doesn't even look like a Jean Grey. She looks like Jessie from Control. It's a weird choice to have her in a black jacket, and she just doesn't remind me or make me think of Jean. Her character design, maybe when she takes the jacket off, you can kind of get a feel for the fact that they're not going with androgynous body shapes here. Like, if you actually look at her body from the side here and when she first comes down, she is very buxom, which you expect that from comic book art direction. There's also a very quick sequence later on where you can see Mystique. But I just don't quite get why they made her look that way. She just doesn't look like Jean. And again, I can't believe nobody said she looks like somebody LARPing or cosplaying as Jessie from Control, which again is strange. Somebody saying it's the voice actress. Is it actually the voice actress and the woman who plays Jessie from Control? Is it literally that person? I first saw it, I was like, why is Jesse here? Yeah, I'm kind of interacting with chat in the show open. I don't usually do that. I don't think she looks bad. I just didn't think it looked like Jean Grey. I don't want to give a ton of oxygen to the whole nonsense of like taking a bad screenshot of a character and saying, oh, they're making the women ugly, like they're doing this with the God of War game, which we'll get to that in a second. But I do have to agree, she doesn't really evoke Jean Grey, the purple powers as well. I'm a little confused by that. Literally everything about this trailer I love other than her design. I love the movement. I love the art direction, even when he's in sort of this enraged mode, the way they use the colors. I am absolutely looking forward to this game. So I'm not too worried, like, if Jean Grey doesn't look that great. The game's called Wolverine. You're playing as Wolverine. Like, he's awesome. He's crazy. He's brutal. It's what I wanted from a Wolverine game. So overall, I thought the Wolverine showcase was excellent, with a tiny bit of criticism for Jean Grey not really looking like Jean Grey. Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls continues to look fantastic. I actually think this is probably going to be maybe one of the bigger live service games that PlayStation is attempting to launch. But I will say this game's already been announced, and Marathon's already up and running. They did like the Season 2 trailer for Marathon. That was probably already planned and slated in this state of play. There was a noticeable absence of live service games in this. The next game we're going to talk about after Rayman is a game called Kamuri, and I looked into it. It's just an action game. It's not a live service game, but it is co-op. There didn't really seem to be any mention or focus on live service. No Horizon Hunters Gathering, no Fair Games, which we believe is now called Break-In. So I'm not sure if that's a signal that maybe PlayStation is sort of leaning away from live service, or maybe they just know that Break-In is a long ways away and they can't find the fun, and they also, know that, Horizon Hunters Gathering's in beta and it's got a lot of places to go. So Marvel Tokone and Marathon were the only live service games in the actual showcase as far as I'm aware, and they're already out and announced and in the ether, so it wasn't weird to have them there, and I think people are going to absolutely love Fighting Souls. So we are going to move along here through announcements that I am excited about. Now, this one we leaked, but we didn't exactly know what it was going to look like. Rayman Legends Retold. I played so much Rayman Legends back in the day with my wife. We absolutely loved it. It is one of the few platformers that I feel is enjoyable co-op. I know that sometimes, like a Donkey Kong Country or some of the Mario games, when you play co-op, they genuinely get harder when you're playing with two players. I remember Rayman Legends always being pretty fun, even playing with two people. There were like the speedrunning music levels. Well, maybe not speedrunning, but like the music levels were always pretty cool. And so I'm looking forward to this one. Excuse me. It's been so long since we played Rayman Legends. I think this will probably land on us like a brand new game. So excited to see that one in the mix. Another one that caught my attention was Kamuri. You're fighting like yokai, like basically like demons that you're looking for. And the ever adorable woman that's like known for the one, I forget what game she was promoting, but everybody loves her. I need to try to remember her name. I followed her on Twitter. She did like a little presentation after the trailer. This is an action game, so this is not a live service game. I think people were worried it was going to be some kind of a gacha game or some kind of a live service game. It's an action game that you can play 3-player co-op, and it actually looks kind of cool. It is a little like overwhelming when you're first watching it, like the aesthetic, but I think once you're in the game and in control of the character, this will be one that feels pretty dope. I think it's got a vibe and it's got a feel, and the combat looks like it could be pretty fun. So that one is called Kamuri. Another one that caught my attention is Tomb Raider, and again, surprising to see people saying that they think they made Lara Croft look ugly. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what sort of beauty standards people are even living in anymore. Just a diluted, terminally online state, I guess. I think she looks great. She looks like a very, very faithful rendition of Lara Croft from the classic games. The outfit is there. The guns are there. She's buxom. Like, I don't get what people are having a problem with. I think graphically this looks far stronger than the first time we saw it. So I think as a game, I'm really hoping that this one looks and plays well. I love when they reset the Tomb Raider franchise. I love the first and second game. I didn't like the third game. It was made by a different team and it just didn't land very well. So I really think the Tomb Raider game is coming together. It looks really nice. This was one that did get delayed. It didn't get delayed this week. It just got sort of resurfaced that this one slips to next year in February. I think GTA has really disrupted the end of the year for a lot of games and a lot of calendars. So that is Tomb Raider. Another one that I thought looked like it could be really fun is The Lost Wild. This is sort of a feels like a bit of like a horror survival experience that is Jurassic Park inspired, and they're calling it The Lost Wild. I don't necessarily think this is supposed to be within the Jurassic Park universe, but it's very clearly taking inspiration from the idea that, like, hey, we had a bunch of dinosaurs in a place and now they're out and they're trying to kill you. So I liked the look and feel of this one. I don't think this one had a release date, but it did say that it was coming in 2027. And speaking of release dates moving, Phantom Blade Zero showed up and didn't have a lot of new things to show. They apologized for that. They are delaying the game to October the 29th, okay? I don't think this game is going to be in any kind of danger. They are getting a little precariously close to that GTA 6 launch, but you have to remember something. This game is launching on PC and console, and it's a Chinese developer. The Chinese market is very PC-centric, and they're not going to be able to play GTA 6 on their PCs. So, and I also think GTA 6 might not be super popular in China, especially if you look at the vibe and the feel of GTA 6. It's very much like, you know, almost like social commentary on American clout chasing, American social media. I don't know if they're going to be in much danger going closer to GTA 6. So October the 29th, as a Chinese game, Chinese developed game, and the PC market in China being so large, this game is probably going to be totally fine. It will likely be a little bit overshadowed, though, with its console sales on PlayStation, given how close it is, and PlayStation being the largest platform for GTA 6 to launch. Another cool announcement that happened was Dune Awakening. Dune Awakening isn't just coming to console on September the 22nd. They are going to be adding a single-player experience, which I thought was interesting. I don't exactly know how that's going to play out. This is an MMO, and it did have like PvP elements, and I've never really wanted to play an MMO if there's PvP, because that's just not something I want to deal with. I would really like to just play the game and grind and get my stuff. And so, interested to see what the single-player experience feels like in Dune Awakening, but again, coming to consoles on September the 22nd. And another thing coming to consoles that was exciting is No Rest for the Wicked is coming to consoles in October. We don't have an exact date yet. October's a tough month right now, so we're hoping that everything that's planning to land late September or October ends up making it, because they are getting, again, dangerously close to the eclipsing GTA 6, but excited to have this on console. Now, I've heard there are difficulty settings in this game. I know it's basically a Souls-like, and it's a top-down, and it's brutal, and it's tough, and I love the art direction. My wife and I will definitely be checking this one out and seeing just how casual you can play the game if you turn the difficulty down. But this is one coming to console, so No Rest for the Wicked is coming in October. Now, September gets a little crazy, and we're going to be checking this game out today because they did shadow drop the demo for Onimusha Way of the Sword, and we're hearing that it's like Sekiro Light. At least somebody in the Discord said that. I've seen some footage on Twitter. I cannot wait to play this game this afternoon for you guys. So if you're looking for Onimusha demo gameplay on the PS5 Pro, that'll be on my channel later this afternoon. You can look for that if you're watching this as a past broadcast. This game is also launching late September, September the 25th. Basically, September the 24th and 25th is just jam-packed full with games. And speaking of a late September release, there is Silent Hill Townfall, which is launching on September the 24th. This game continues to look great. I don't really play games like this. They're not really my vibe, but the first-person perspective, maybe I'll give this one a whirl and see if I enjoy it. Maybe if it's a little bit more adjacent to the experience that I had in Resident Evil 7 that I liked so much. Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 9 are like my two favorites. I'm not a big Resident Evil guy, so don't get mad at me for not picking your favorite, but I loved Resident Evil 7 and I loved Resident Evil 9. And this maybe ends up being adjacent enough to what I enjoyed in Resident Evil 7, as well as just playing as Grace in Resident Evil 9. She was so fun to play as. So if it is more in that vein of like it's a Silent Hill and like you have to like hit something 18 times or run past it, like I don't know. It just, the survival horror elements of most of the survival horror games I've played, they don't land on me. I'm not being critical. It's just my personality. I don't vibe with them, but I do think this game looks very, very good. The art direction, everything looks awesome, and I hope the Silent Hill fans end up enjoying it. Now, this was one that doesn't speak to me, but I wanted to include it for all of you big fans out there. I couldn't remember the name because people are like, I can't believe you couldn't remember the name for Ace Combat. I've never played an Ace Combat game. I don't play games like this. I'm also a very late comer to PlayStation, so a lot of the classic games that were out like way back in the day and people just absolutely love. People are losing their minds about this in the chat, which I think is just awesome. I think that's awesome. I think it's a clear sign of health in the industry when there's a game that doesn't land on me at all and like chat's losing their mind about it. I love to see that. And the reason I love to see that and the reason I celebrate that is because that's what gaming is all about. It's about having, so many games out there in the market for people to be playing and enjoying and being excited about. Even if it's a game that says nothing to me and I probably won't spend 5 minutes playing it, I'm excited for the people that are excited. I like to see that, whether it's a fighting game like Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls or this game. I get excited for the people that like these games because I think that's a good thing for the market. It's healthy for the market to have a diverse lineup of games and to have those games doing very well. Speaking of diverse lineups, this one was a bit of a surprise, and nobody could really guess what it was until the very end, because Kit from Knight Rider showed up. I grew up watching Knight Rider. There he is. Just such a great car. So Kit's in there from Knight Rider, and then the DeLorean's in there from Back to the Future, and people are obviously like, what in the world is this? This game is called Stuntman Hollywood, and it just said coming soon. We don't have a release window, so this is probably next year. And I believe that car is supposed to be from I think this car truck sequence is supposed to be from Mad Max. I'm pretty sure. So this looks pretty cool. Like, they can get a lot of good licensure and get a lot of cool cars to show up from famous movies. Could be a really, really fun time. I don't really play racing games, but this one could be fun if it's more about like demolition and making jumps and like, seeing cool cars. People are saying the white Ferrari is from Miami Vice, so everybody can pick a car probably from the trailer that they recognize. Apparently Stuntman goes all the way back to the PlayStation 2 era. I did not know that. So I hope the people that like these types of games enjoy them. There was one that was pretty visceral and pretty crazy and pretty gross looking, and it's called Ill, and it's coming in 2027. I don't want to show this one too much because we could probably get age restricted. But it's violent and disturbing and first person. I don't know if we're looking at real gameplay in that trailer. It could be a lot of simulated gameplay. So I'll just say that it looks pretty good and that it could be pretty scary. Now, the next game that I really, really want to talk about that I'm super, super excited about is Control Resonant. Yes, we finally got a release date, September the 24th. Not only did we release it, there she is. Pope is in the game. I'm so glad that Emily Pope is making a return. And the really, really cool thing in Control Resonant, I didn't just geek out seeing Emily Pope because I think she's like super, super great as a character. She's a great juxtaposition. Like, the world's creepy and terrifying, and she's like cute and charming and sweet, and it's like nothing bothers her, and I love her as a character in the first game. But Jessie is in the trailer. A bit of a spoiler, but it seems like we're gonna find her. She's a bit sort of like she's been exploring or something. She's got her hair pulled back. She's got kind of like a college professor vibe going on with her jacket and stuff. So she's been gone for a while, it seems, maybe into another plane or something. But Jessie's in the game. We're going to end up fighting alongside of her. I don't know if they're hinting at anything of like co-op or anything like that. Probably not. You guys know me. I see two players in a game and I go, oh, is it co-op? But yes, Jessie is going to be in the game, which I think is very exciting. So September the 24th is the release date for Control. Can't wait. End of September is going to be insane. Now, we expected this one to be here. Marathon Season 2 trailer was there. The thing that really struck me about this trailer is that the vibes are great. They really are. The vibes are fantastic. I wish this was all just PvE. I think that Bungie is continuing to demonstrate that they can create really great environments and have really great art direction. I like everything. I was like PvP, but a lot of us have just sort of aged out of that bracket of gameplay, and we just don't want to do it. But the vibes here are fantastic. I think the lighting looks great. The environments look great. This setting right here, things are coming, flying out of the dark. Very reminiscent of, some of your first encounters with the Hive in Destiny 1. And I don't know. I'm really, really hoping they can land some amazing PvE content, because I think the world and the universe of Marathon is pretty dope. And sadly, my opinion, I think it's wasted on PvP. That's just my opinion. I know not everybody agrees, but that's what I think. One more first party before we get to the big first party is we got to see Fire Sprite's new Until Dawn. So Until Dawn is coming out in 2027. These games always have a teeny bit of an awkward stiffness to them, but a great cast. I forget the guy's name that they just showed. He was wonderful in Dead Take, super strong actor. So very excited to play this one. My wife and I love these games. Dark Pictures games are so fun. We did not like Directive 8020, so I'm hoping Until Dawn can kind of bring back what we remember enjoying so much about Until Dawn, The Quarry, and the other Dark Pictures games like Man of Medan and others that we have played. So, looking forward to this one. And again, we kind of got exactly what I predicted. So I told people yesterday they're going to kick it off with Wolverine, they're going to end with God of War Faye, and they'll probably be like a cinematic trailer for another PlayStation first-party studio. That's literally what they did. And they ended the show with what to me was one of the most exciting announcements I've seen for a while. I have said for a while that if they did a God of War Faye game, I think it could be incredible. I said if they get Deborah Ann Wall, how can anybody complain about her? She's a true geek. She's a true gamer. If you go watch the clip of her teaching Johnny Bernthal how to do D&D, how can you not love her? She's awesome. Some of the takes about her I think are incredibly weird. I don't know why anybody would say she doesn't look like Deborah Ann Wall. Obviously, if you take really bad screenshots, which is what people do now, it's the total grift where you intentionally get a bad screenshot of somebody where the lighting is bad and you're like, oh, it doesn't look like her at all. When the entire sequence opened and she's like laying there asleep, I don't know how you don't look at that and think, man, she is beautiful. And it didn't even look like her for a split second. I was like, wait, it doesn't really look like her, because when her eyes are open, she has like this intensity about her, and she looks so peaceful laying there. I was like, is that Deborah Ann Wall? And beyond that, we've got Jack Quaid, who plays the Cube, and he is Huey from The Boys. And the combat in this is the main thing that really, really pulled me in, because I said, listen, if you give her a sword, if you give her a bunch of agility, you give her some magic, she could be freaking awesome. I had no inside information about this. I wasn't saying those things because I knew what was coming. I just envisioned what they could do with a character who is more about, being quick, but also being visceral. Keep in mind, within the lore and within the canon, she fought Thor. I mean, she is a beast. She is very, very strong. People are pushing against the lore and saying, well, if it's an afterlife for the gods, why is she there? She's not a god. It's very clear that the place called Everywhen is not just strictly for gods. There are lots of creatures and beings in this area and in this place that she finds herself. So she has somehow stumbled into this place. We don't quite understand why. The cool thing is about the setting, about Everywhen, is that any pantheon can show up. So people are speculating that the sword is Merlin. That's from like Welsh mythology. And then you have like Egyptian mythology with the two people that she's talking to. I believe one of them is, I forget the one. The big red guy is from a different mythology. But then the woman that's like in her face is, I guess, from like Egyptian mythology. I forget the name there too. But that setting, to me, I think is going to really allow it to kind of break away from being too much like a God of War 2018 or a God of War Ragnarok. Also, the cool thing about this is there are interviews way back where Cory Barlog is talking about God of War 2018 and how they're setting them up. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mongol. Yeah, the one guy is from like Mongol mythology. Sekhmet is from the Egyptian mythology. Thank you, chat. Cory Barlog was doing interviews a long time ago about God of War 2018 and said there were a lot of mysteries and a lot of things that were going to be revealed. I just realized this morning as I was thinking about it, I tweeted, I think Faye is the one that blows the horn in God of War 2018. There are numerous sequences in God of War Ragnarok where it seems as though she is actually attempting to contact and talk to Kratos. They are having these games touch each other, and we didn't even know it was happening. There are sequences, there are moments, there's even the time in God of War 2018 where Kratos is gone for a really long time, and Atreus is like, you were gone for hours, and he's like, I was gone for mere moments. We don't know. Maybe that's going to be interwoven into this game. There's so many things that happen in God of War 2018 and Ragnarok that could severely touch down on this story. Also, Cory Barlog has made it clear there will be more Kratos God of War. This is not a replacement. This is an off-branching story that's running adjacent to the events in God of War 2018. I don't know how anybody can't be excited about that. I think it looks awesome. I think some of the takes are very, very weird. I think her combat looks great. I think she looks exactly like Deborah Ann Wall. I don't think anybody claiming that they made her look bad is being, arguing in good faith. They are intentionally using bad screenshots, as they did with The Witcher, as they've done with many other games. This is just a consistent strategy to mislead the public about these games. I would continue to encourage you to not engage with that type of content. Don't give it oxygen. Don't reply. Don't quote tweet. Don't retweet. Don't leave comments. Just ignore it. They're already trying to brigade the dislikes. They did the same thing with Yote, and then Yote was very commercially successful. I just think we need to continue to focus on the fact that these games are exciting. Focus on the gameplay. Focus on the quality. The character design in these sequences is unbelievably good. Like, Santa Monica is just excellent at character design and setting tone. I absolutely loved this as an open. I love God of War 2018 and Ragnarok. They are some of my favorite games, and this makes me want to go back and replay them to look for clues and moments where Faye could be trying to contact Kratos from the other side. So Jason Schreier did comment and say this game is not years away. I actually think what happened is, let me just kind of give you my theory on what happened. I think that Wolverine was supposed to be maybe September-ish where it's landing, and then I think this game was supposed to be in November. And I think GTA 6 screwed the whole thing up. I think GTA 6 was supposed to land in May, and then, so many months go by and they feel safe dropping Wolverine, and then November could be a brand new God of War game. Well, that obviously can't happen. That just simply cannot happen. This game cannot land in November. That'd be absurd to go up against GTA 6. This game is likely now going to be landing first quarter next year. That's kind of the going theory right now. So I think GTA 6 shifted it there. Apparently, they have been working on this since before Ragnarok even shipped. So this was being sort of worked on adjacent to the work being done on Ragnarok, which is why I'm very excited to see how much this story interweaves with the events of 2018, as well as maybe even the events of Ragnarok. This is a full mainline game. This is a branching story. It's a full mainline game, though. They're not replacing Kratos, but they had a team building a completely separate story, and people are like, well, why are they calling it God of War? It's within the God of War universe and franchise. That's why they're calling it God of War. This is attached to Kratos' story. Kratos is in this game numerous times just in the opening 20 minutes that they showed us. This is as much a part of his story as anything. Even if they did a branching story with Atreus, it would be a part of his story. And I think that's what's so cool about what they're doing is they're expanding the story of what happens with Kratos in 2018 in Ragnarok and giving us a completely different perspective of she's in this everyone place, and I just think it has great vibes. And people are like, oh, the cube seems so corny. The cube is awesome. The cube has led to so many great memes. Just celebrate games and have fun. Everybody's so committed to misery and anger. I don't know how you could watch this showcase and be upset. This is everything I wanted. It's Deborah Ann Wall. It's faster. It's more agile. They gave her a sword. It's got its own vibe. This really is, to me, what I wanted to see when I heard there could be a Faye game. And with us knowing that there is, obviously more Kratos in the future. There's no worry. And we're hearing here that a gelatinous cube is a fictional monster from the Dungeons & Dragons fantasy role-playing game. It's described as a 10-foot cube of transparent gelatinous ooze, which is able to absorb and digest organic matter. Well, I mean, yeah, they're pulling from everything. They're pulling from everything, right? We're hearing that, and I have to show this scene here. This is just their ability to create scope and power and a sense of gravitas with something big like that. That reminds me of the World Serpent in 2018. I love what Santa Monica brings to the table with their games and their art direction. They're just so good. People obsessing over the most minute details or like zooming in on things, and like, again, they intentionally take screenshots when she looks terrible. You could do that to anybody. We've seen them do this with celebrities when celebrities are like walking down the road and the paparazzi gets like an awkward picture of, somebody as good looking as like Henry Cavill. I mean, they do this all the time. I think people obsessing over this type of stuff, I really think people need to reevaluate how they judge games. So, a $5 super chat from Jack Garland. Let's just get into the show. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I appreciate you guys being here so much. To me, again, great showcase, and I got a lot of people to thank. So let's get the goal up on the board. You guys got us so far ahead yesterday. We kicked off the day with Joker Quinn. Han shot first, and so did you, getting us to 260. And another gifted came in from Joker Quinn a bit later. I'm going to go through the renewals and the super chats. Manny with 33 months on a member plus. Gamers have really lost touch with reality. People are calling it God of Woke. Let them. I continue to say this. Let them hate, let them be angry, and let them downvote. I've never been happier to have less in common with people like that lie and get propagandized. They lack discernment. They're not men of wisdom. They're not. The lacking of discernment, and it's just such foolish behavior. I've never been more pleased to have such clear dividing lines between us. I don't want anything in common with people like that. The way they talk about games is just so weird. Steam Deck Gamer with 17 months. I think this afterlife is the place that Odin is looking for, and it's what drove him mad. He wanted to know, where does a god go when they die? And then Jerry with 18 months in member plus, but the cube isn't lore accurate. Sarcasm. Yeah, people were like fighting for lore accuracy. I'm like, what in the world? Should we talk about that Kratos is completely made up? Oh, no? Okay. Anyways, and let's go through and thank the super chats. A $10 super chat from Sneaky Wolf. Lono, the purple Jean is using just to put visual on her telepathy powers. Why wouldn't they make her powers blue, though? Purple? Why does everything have to be purple? Like, you know what I'm saying? Her powers should be blue. Why am I maybe I'm wrong. My gut instinct is like, her powers should be blue. Maybe I'm weird, but they should be blue. I don't know. I don't know what obsess over the color, but like, anyways. Probably to help the player know when to interact with it, and probably just for artistic reasons. Again, I don't know. The purple didn't make any sense to me. She doesn't look like Jean Grey. She looks like Jessie from Control. Do they use purple in the comics? You know what the problem is? There's so much purple in video games now. I'm like, God, get the purple out of there. Like, that's the problem. It's if there wasn't like this laundry list of games using purple, I wouldn't have recoiled. But I was like, purple? And I was like, huh? Here we go again with purple. That's part of the problem, is like every single game has used that color in the last like 24 months. So I can get over that. Yeah, purple's Gambit's color. Yeah, when he infuses stuff as well. She looks like Jessie from Control. It doesn't even look like Jean Grey to me. Anyways, thank you for the $10 super chat, and then a $2 super chat from Daniel says excited for Faye game, hoping early 2027. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where that one is going to land. Yeah, if you look at pictures, it's more of a pink, honestly, in the comics instead of like a deep purple. That's why I was confused when she first showed up and I saw the purple. I was like, is that Psylocke? Like, I literally thought it might have been Psylocke, but it was Jean. And another super chat coming in from Jack Garland says, Corey Barlog said, do you see that Spider-Man 2 cube glitch? How ridiculous. Wait a minute. Thank you, Jack Garland. And a $5 super chat from Social Destruct. The God of War game looked very reminiscent of Heavenly Sword. That Ill game looked unbelievable. Great state of play. Yeah, the Ill game looked insane to me. Like, I was very, very interested to see, like, is that genuine gameplay? Is that what it's going to look like? I'm actually kind of curious because it looked so real. Like, it almost looked like it could have been simulated gameplay. I'm not sure. You're colorblind? So you couldn't even see it. Cubic War? Yeah. It'll look sick. See what I did there? It'll look sick. That's excellent. Guys, thank you for 200 likes on the video. Wolf Saints, what are you trying to draw my attention to here? Curzia Bajos is the voice in the mocap for Jean Grey, but I don't know if they used her for the face. Yeah, it looks like they used her for the face loosely. Very, very loosely. I shouldn't have clicked on that. I don't know what that was. All of a sudden my computer's like not happy. Let me go up here and see. Oh, I'm in the wrong chat. Let me look at the pictures that you sent. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, I would say that they're kind of going for it to look like her. Obviously, people are going to do comparisons like they've been recently. They'll do side-by-sides, and they'll be like, you know, taking glamour shots where she has, like, perfect makeup and hair, and they're going to be like, it doesn't look like her. If anybody takes an issue with, like, her jawline in the game, this woman's got a pretty strong jawline. I would say that they pretty much made Jean Grey look like her. I just think that the hair and the jacket makes her look like she looks like Jessie from Control. That was the only thing as soon as she showed up, I was like, what the frick? Because when do they zoom in on her? Here we go. Yeah, that's definitely her. That's definitely the actress, that you just gave me pictures to. No doubt in my mind, they used her face for the face shape. I'm trying to get a good side by side, but it's difficult because a lot of the glamour shots she's facing the other direction. Was that confirmed Jean or is she Madeline? I think people are just assuming it's Jean because it's Wolverine, and Wolverine and Jean have a history. So I think we're supposed to assume that it's Jean Grey. I don't know. We could be wrong in assuming that. Let me open this image in a new tab, and then let's do... Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's her. Yeah, they used her face 100%. That's totally her. It's the same nose. It's the same jawline. Yeah. He called her Red. Oh, does he call her Red in the trailer? Yeah, then it's Jean. Yeah. That's Jean Grey. That's what he calls her. So anybody claiming that, like, oh, she's ugly or whatever, she looked to me, this is the same exact person. I just didn't like the hair color with the jacket. It made her look like Jessie from Control. If she was in like a blue outfit, which is underneath, you can see underneath, it would look better. It would look more like Jean Grey. The trailer for Ill says captured on the PS5 Pro, legit. Did you notice that a lot of the trailers were captured on the PS5 Pro? Yeah. They said in the thing it was Jean. I didn't catch where they said that. I mean, yeah, so we know that it's her. In any case, I think the jacket was a bad call because with the hairstyle, it made her look like Jessie from Control. It was like, oh, but if she would have been in blue, it would have been obvious. It would have been immediately like, oh, that's Jean Grey. The jacket needed to be another color for sure. Yeah. The more I look at it, the more I'm convinced that we're just going to continue to see bad screenshots of her. She looks just like the actress, and I think the actress is pretty. I think anybody pulling the shenanigans that they typically pull they're just forcing it at this point. She'll take her jacket off, and her X-Men suit will look dope. Yeah, for sure. Well, there's no X-Men at this point. That's what they're saying. There's no X-Men. Here's the other thing that, they loved going back and doing freeze frames of Mystique, but they're not going to freeze frame that to be like, oh, she's shapely, like she looks like Jean, small waist, big bust. Like, they're not going to do that. People are freaking out about Wolverine's hairy arms, though. People are freaking out about Wolverine's hairy arms. And listen, the homie is hairy, boys. He is hairy. He ain't never seen a razor or gotten any waxing done or anything. That brother is just a hairy monster. Okay, I do have some people to thank, though. Angry Pete used your Prime sub over there on Purple. Thank you. We're at 265. We are exactly 10 members away from the next milestone. Thank you so much. I'm interested in the God of War Laufey game. By the way, if anybody tries to correct you on calling it Laufey, all three of the actors call it Laufey. All three of them. Deborah Ann Wall, the guy who plays Huey from The Boys, all three of them say Laufey in the video where you meet the cast. So anybody that's going to be like, listen, I love Dell on Twitter. He's a super nice guy, but Dell's all out here like straightening his glasses and being like, well, the Nordic way that you're supposed to pronounce it. And I'm like, well, everybody in the trailer that meets for Meet the Cast pronounces it Laufey. So like, it's supposed to be Laufey. And it's like, well, they call her Faye. Like, so I'm going to say Laufey. Jack Quaid. Yeah, Jack Quaid's his name. That's right. Yeah. Corey says it too. Yeah, they're all saying Laufey, boys. Wolverine PS5 looks like a pour of the 2006 game. These people can't be serious. They can't be comparing the Wolverine game to that. You're absolutely insane. If you like, this is from the old Avengers game. Are they actually comparing the Wolverine game to that? Like, okay, I think people need to get their eyes checked or their internet connection checked. It looks great. Wolverine looks so good. I'm to the point where I think I just want to laugh, but also feel kind of bad for these people. I'm like, do you hate everything? Like, is there any joy in your life at all? Is there anything that excites you or makes you happy? Like, everything sucks. Everything is lame and mid and woke. And it's like, aren't you guys tired yet? I feel like you guys have got to be running out of steam. You know what I mean? You have got to be running out of steam. Aren't you tired? It's like, Jiminy Christmas. It was such a good state of play. People are like so mauling in my comments. They're just like, hey, of course you liked it, you shill. And I'm like, it was a good state of play. It was fun. I had people complaining that the gameplay segments were too long. Too long. I was like, what? I was like, what you prefer? Like the quick looks and the quick edits and the simulated gameplay? Like, oh my gosh. Just anything to complain about, boys. Big Evil at 37 months says there's a clip where when Thor kills Kratos and he shows up with Faye, helps her up. Yeah, I thought that was a cool splice up, but it wouldn't make any sense because that's too much time passing. He's fighting Thor in Ragnarok at the beginning of Ragnarok. It was a cool mashup that somebody did, but the timing doesn't line up. It's like, but she was dead 20 minutes before that she's fighting that guy. I thought the showcase was really good, but the internet loves to rubbish stuff, says Jack, just for engagement. I think those people are worse than the people who hate video games. The hate is so unbearable at times. I agree with what you said yesterday, Lono. Like, if you don't like modern gaming, go find another hobby. Like I said, don't give it oxygen. I'm happy to sit here and dialogue with you guys about it, but don't give it oxygen. Don't quote tweet. Don't retweet. Don't comment. Don't react to their videos. Don't give it oxygen. It's so brain dead at this point. It's like these games are great and they're awesome, and they'll always move on and ignore the fact that Horizon has been incredibly successful, and they did the same thing to Aloy and tried to make her look really ugly. They did the same thing to Ghost of Yotei, and it was very commercially successful. The idea that God of War Laufey isn't going to be successful is just absolutely absurd. It's like, I don't think you guys understand the pull that Santa Monica has, the pull that God of War has. That game's going to cook. And it's Deborah Ann Wall. Like, what are we even talking about? How can you be upset about her being the main actor in a game? She is awesome. She's so awesome. She's everything you want in somebody being thrust into this situation. She actually plays games, and she does D&D, and she's knowledgeable. Like, Mr. Matty Plays got mad and cut his stream because people wouldn't stop making fun of the new God of War game. He will get hate, but you know what? Respect. Too many bend over backwards for online nobodies that are ultimately miserable, and if he doesn't want to just be a conduit for jaded people who just make it their mission to hate on everything, good for him. Maddie just that's crazy that he just bailed out. Listen, I said it yesterday. Thank you for the $2 super chat, Daniel. Reminder, we don't know how time works where Faye is. That's right. Time works differently there. Doesn't it say in some of the theories about the everyone that everything can be happening at different times? So she could be interacting with him in Ragnarok and 2018 in different order while she's in the everyone. Yeah. He got butthurt though. Listen, I totally empathize with Maddie. It can be very, very frustrating to sit through a showcase like that and you're genuinely excited and you're just pumped to talk about the games, and you got a bunch of idiots in chat just being like mid, sucked, lame, woke, women are ugly. Like, it's just like, come on, bro. I said yesterday, I was like, listen, if people show up during the Xbox showcase and do that, or Jeff Keighley's showcase, I'm just going to bop them out of the chat. It's like, I don't want your energy. I'm here to enjoy games and have a good time. You don't have to slobber over every game, but you also don't have to hate everything either. And it's like, he's still new to streaming. Yeah, he is traditionally more of an upload guy. The streaming environment, it is very unenjoyable. I'm just going to tell you, after 10 years of doing it, I always have to kind of brace myself for the barrage of reflexive hate. People just out of reflex, they hate. They're like, dumb, lame, that wasn't gameplay, looked boring, that was simulated. And it was like, none of that was simulated gameplay. If you were bored, I don't know what you were looking for. I've just gotten accustomed to it. I am just totally calloused now. I've got calluses on my mind and my heart and my soul. I'm ready for that every time. I'm ready every time. It can be a 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10 showcase. It can be a great showcase. And you're always going to have people lining up to say, you're just shilling, you're just a fanboy, it sucked, these games suck, they're boring, they're movie games. And it's just like, it's the same tired narrative every time. That's why I don't give it much oxygen. I told people yesterday when they started doing that, I'm like, you're not going to get any quarter here. I don't want to talk to you. You're uninteresting. Your opinion is prefab. Your opinion was written before you voiced it. It's like, I don't even want to hear your script that you're going to read from because you got your talking points from some other YouTuber. You're boring. You're uninteresting. Like, I don't want to have a conversation with people that are just going to do that. It's like, you do not have to be excited about every game. I'm not excited about every game. But the consistent sort of just immediacy with which we hear the same token statements every time, I've just become callous to it. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I don't want to interact with you. You're not interesting. Your opinion's boring. I know your opinion before you say it. So why would I want to bother having a conversation? You know what I mean? It's like you want to have an in-depth conversation with a 2-year-old about broccoli. You know, it's yucky. Like, that's all they're going to keep saying. Thank you, Madara, for 46 months in a VIP. Let me add it to the total. And a 5-bomb as well, paying it forward. Thank you. Morning. They already promised they would continue making games with the big guys, so God of War fans need to chill. I love the gameplay for Faye. It reminds me of the old Greek trilogy. Yeah, they've confirmed there is more Kratos. She's not replacing Kratos, so that's another thing people are going to run with. They're going to put up the pictures of, Nathan Drake being replaced by Lost Legacy. He wasn't. Rivet replacing Ratchet. Not true. Atsu didn't replace Jin Sakai either. Nate the 8 says there is a general Nintendo Direct. Oh, next week. The rumor was that the Nintendo Direct was tomorrow. I guess they moved it maybe? I don't know. I got attacked by some people on another YouTube channel for having an opinion on the God of War Faye game. Plus, as a lady, I shouldn't get attacked. As a lady, I shouldn't get attacked. I mean, I don't think you getting attacked, you don't get like a protective barrier in chat when you're a woman. I'm sorry to tell you, but if people are attacking you, I don't care what your gender is. There's no reason to attack people over their opinions on video games. Yeah, they got Bear to do the soundtrack, by the way. Bear McCreary's doing the soundtrack. He's the composer. The real fandom for sure for movie, games, and sports is just difference in passion. Do you think there will be more free roam ability with Wolverine like in the Spider-Man games, or will it be more focused on the point and not on the deviation, and not a ton of deviation. I don't think it's going to be open world. I think it's going to be like open area. It's very clear they're going to give you like set pieces for Wolverine to interact with, right? It's very clear. And I think there's definitely going to be some stealth. I mean, it's not stealth for very long. The homie's like frickin' jumping and kicking and throwing people. He doesn't try to stay quiet for very long, but he definitely can sneak. I mean, he does that in the Uncanny X-Men. When I was growing up, I told people yesterday, I was like, there could definitely be some stealth. Like, Wolverine's great at sneaking. He has heightened senses. He can hear and smell at long distances. Like, he's definitely going to be, sneaking around. He's not just going to be running in every time. Wolf Saint says last comment. Also, they're trying to use the fact that Alana wrote on the game against it because she used to be at IGN. I think we're starting to realize why Alana Pierce. I would love to interview her about this. I may reach out to Rahul and be like, hey, man, can you ask Alana to come on the show? Because I would love to interview her and say, is this why you slipped up the one time and said that you wrote for God of War? Because you did. She wrote for God of War. She wrote for God of War Laufey, and since the stories are interwoven, I think that's why she slipped up that one time and said that she wrote for God of War, because she did. But she couldn't reveal the fact that she had because the project hadn't been announced yet. So she had to completely keep that a secret, and that's why she went back and removed that one section of the broadcast, and people thought it was because she was lying. And I'm like, nope, I think we now understand why she did that. She let it slip, and she wasn't supposed to. You're going to have to play through Dispatch first. I heard someone say Wolverine is the Batman of the X-Men. I mean, I guess. I didn't like the showcase as Cat Uncle, but that's mostly because they showed games I'm not interested in. I completely understand why people are excited. If I like God of War or Marvel games, I'd be hyped. I think that's completely fair, Cat Uncle. If those aren't your style of games, that's definitely hard to enjoy the showcase, because the showcase was bookended by a Marvel action game and a Santa Monica action game. I mean, that's, if you don't like those kind of games, you're like, well, I was a little bored, and that's fine. That's totally fine. If the show opened with Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls as like their big first party announcement, and then it ended with a Gran Turismo 8, I would have been disappointed. I'd be right there with you. Now, I wouldn't be calling it trash or mid, but I'm like, well, that's pretty disappointing for me. I don't really play fighting games, and I don't really play Gran Turismo. So if it opened up with Marvel Tokone and Gran Turismo 8, I'd be like, meh, meh. I'd be like, meh, I'm not that excited. I'd be excited for the people that are excited, but I myself wouldn't be that excited. I like that the fans of Destiny showed up in full force. Oh, I love that. I love the headlines. I'll say, Reforge, why does Sony hate JRPGs so much? Not a single JRPG announcement yesterday. I mean, the action game Kamuri is a Japanese game. It's not a JRPG. There was a lot of Japanese games, but not JRPGs, I guess. I mean, Onimusha is a Japanese game. Kamuri was a Japanese game. Dynasty Warriors 3 Remastered is a Japanese game. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, maybe there's not one going on right now. Alana and Rahul going to be the gamer power couple. I'm Black Lono, and I was attacked for liking Bloodborne. I don't see how those two things are connected. Oh, are you making a joke about being attacked because you're a woman? Yeah. They did a Japanese-centric state of play. Yeah, last year they did one. So maybe you'd have to go back and look at that state of play if you want some of those announcements. Some of these people are never happy with any games. Here's something you guys have to realize, and this is why I say don't give it oxygen. You really, it's so hard. It's very difficult not to give it oxygen. I unfollowed a YouTuber that I thought was a mutual, but then he started saying nonsense about PTSD and the Punisher show that they did, the Punisher Hour Special. And I was like, you know nothing about combat vets, veterans, or PTSD. Shut your frickin' mouth. But I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this. And I just deleted my tweet and I unfollowed the guy. It's like, because that's what they want. Like, the commentary and what they're saying, it's designed for engagement. It is not what they genuinely think. They comb over these trailers. They intentionally pause them at the worst times. So they're making a terrible face. or they look super awkward. And then they're going to say, yep, look how ugly she is. It's literally designed for you to correct them. It's what they want. They will never put this picture up and say, oh, look how ugly they made Deborah Ann Wall. They'll never do it because that won't get engagement, because people would be like, what are you even talking about? She looks great there. She looks great there. She looks great there. Now, obviously, she's a little disheveled. I mean, she just woke up from being dead. So she's a little disheveled there. But, like, that looks exactly like Deborah Ann Wall. Like, people are trying to say, oh, it doesn't look like her or whatever. And I'm like, you're high if you think that doesn't look like her. It's like 1-to-1. So you have to see. You cannot reply to the tweets. You cannot retweet, quote tweet. Don't leave comments. Don't watch the videos. You have to starve it of oxygen. It's not designed as an opinion to be in to have a back and forth or like a genuine like viewpoint. It's literally designed to be provocative. It's to provoke so that she looks great. And they're like, thank you. Thank you, the 1,000 people that told me today that she actually looks great. They know that. They know that. You have to see through it. You simply must. That's why I won't engage with it. Now, I'll dialogue with it about you guys because it's in the ether, it's in the conversation. But if somebody comes in here and starts doing that, like, yeah, it's woke, you're an idiot, you're a beta or whatever, it's like I'm just gonna ban them. It's like I don't want to talk to you. You're just reading from a script that you didn't even write. A €5 super chat from Gavin. I'm struggling to think of the last game this big announced with 20 minutes of uncut gameplay. If you didn't like any of the games here, you don't like games. Well, I think it's fair for somebody to say they don't like God of War games or Marvel games. I think that's fair. That doesn't mean they don't like games. If there was a really exciting Gran Turismo 8 trailer and a really exciting Marvel Tokone trailer, and I was like, yeah, those weren't the best bookends for me, you couldn't be like, but you don't like games, Lono. Now, you guys know me. I'd be really excited for all of you that are fans of those franchises, as I was excited for people who are fans of Ace Combat. I was really excited for you guys. I was very excited. I was like, man, chat is going crazy for Ace Combat 8, and I have zero desire to ever touch the game. I think making space for other gamers like that is the best way to approach these conversations, as long as they're speaking in good faith. They're not just saying it to provoke you and to make you mad. Like what somebody put in chat just a little bit ago. He was not trying to bait anybody or make anybody mad. He was just saying, yeah, I don't really like God of War or Marvel games. That's totally fair. Yo, Cool Spoon with 11 months over there on purple. I'm not going to call games woke, but if games promote things I disagree with, I just don't buy it. Don't care how good it is. Didn't watch the Sony showcase, so this isn't in reference to anything specific from it. I do find people get upset when I am just honest about why I won't buy a game. I can't betray my conscience and support things that I disagree with. I completely get it. My daughter keeps getting books from the library that infuriate me because they put all this nonsense in children's books that doesn't belong there because they're trying to do like worldview clashes or worldview indoctrination within children's books. Instead of just like solving a mystery, it has to be all about all this like, present dayisms just injected into children's stories. It's like they're 10 and they're 12, and it drives me freaking crazy. And I feel you on that. I wouldn't buy something if I feel like that's what's going on. Generally speaking, I don't feel like that happens in most video games. I feel like a lot of the times that's grossly overstated. It's like there are some things I pretty sharply disagree with being put into games, but I don't necessarily think it's an indication of a game being bad. I do think at times it's an indication of game developers prioritizing things that don't ultimately matter. But then what's interesting is then the players are doing the same thing. It's like, they're putting that in there and that shouldn't be there. And it's like, but then they want games to put other things there. And it's like, well, you gotta pick and decide. Can games put these types of things in or not? King So What with 41 months. I thought the state of play was great, but for me it lacked that extra punch that would have had me super excited for the coming years. Thank you so much, adding to the total of 273. Anything that ends like that with a Santa Monica long stretch to me is super exciting. Super exciting. Look at the view count for each game's interest. Let's see here. Yeah, Wolverine's got 3 million. Yeah, Wolverine's got 3 million. Tomb Raider 500,000. And then the God of War one. God of War has almost 3 million. Like, I'm here to tell you, you're just losing this fight. I know they're brigading and they're downvoting it, 200,000 to 100,000. You're losing. You're losing. You're not the majority. You're not. This is quite literally a 2-to-1 ratio. Now, you can celebrate, be like, yeah, look how many people downvoted and aren't going to buy it. Yeah, you're losing. You're losing. It's 2-to-1. Like, the idea that people are doing that, to me, is just a sign that they did the same thing to Yote. It's not going to work. That they're continuing to lose ground. Nobody's going to watch a 20-minute Santa Monica trailer with that level of gameplay and be like, I don't want to play as Deborah Ann Wall. There's just no way. It's not possible. If you watched True Blood, if you've seen her interview with John Bernthal, if you've seen The Punisher, if you've seen Daredevil, there's no way you're like, I ain't playing as Deborah Ann Wall. Like, that's going to be such a minority of people. Now, if you don't like God of War games in general, or maybe you don't like God of War 2018 or whatever, how can you see the downvotes? It's an extension. It's not perfect, but it's close. View counting. Why would you not look at view count to gauge public interest? That's a very, very good barometer of public interest. View count on trailers is an excellent way to see what's hot in the algorithm and what are people paying attention to. That's like an actual legitimate way to gauge how well something's doing. Oh, you're saying people are claiming the views aren't good? I mean, the Laufey video has almost 3 million views, 2.9 million views, and the Wolverine trailer has 3.1. Sony is freaking crushing it. You can hate Sony and say all you want about Sony. You can call them movie games, and you can call me a pony. Like, that's such an adult thing to do. They clearly are dominant in the gaming world. They're dominant. They have trailers that aren't even 24 hours old, and they're each at 3 million views. Like, take a freaking walk if you think these games are bad and aren't going to do well. They're already monumental in the gaming space. They're already monumental. 3 million views in less than a day. That's absurd. That is an absurd level of interest in people watching. Hang on, I have another super chat. The OA. Oh, I'm sorry, a $2 super chat from Daniel. Faye finds Kratos, the next game, Faye and Kratos, could be dope. The OA with a $20 super chat. I understand if put only Deborah of War in the mix, but there was literally a game for everyone in this state of play. If anyone came out to think only bad games, then you genuinely don't like this hobby. No, I understand what you're saying. Oh, they're saying the views are bad? Yeah, 3 million views after 16 hours is bad. Jiminy Christmas. Jeepers. People are real down bad. Listen, I've tried to tell you before, the fan fiction that like PlayStation games don't do well or PlayStation games aren't popular, it's just fan fiction. They'll run with the narrative of like, oh, but the PlayStation first-party games are in decline for sales. Yes, as all games are in a decline for sales since COVID 2020. Everything spiked in fiscal 2020. It did. I don't know what to tell you. That's true of all games, not just PlayStation games. They've all experienced that. They all have. There's been a significant slowdown. It's what led to a lot of the layoffs. I need some co-op God of War, says AOZ. I gotta tell you, I would lose my dadgum mind if they work to where there's a co-op God of War and I'm playing as Kratos and my wife is playing as Faye. I mean, that would be, oh my gosh, that would be so freaking fun. I definitely think they're going to converge the stories. There was like 45,000 concurrent on Twitch. Yeah, there was like 45,000 concurrent views on Twitch. The State of Play in English has been viewed 4.3 million times on YouTube. The one with English subtitles has been viewed 1.1 million. So basically 5 million views from the English viewer base. You know, and then another 3 million views on each of the trailers that were uploaded after the fact. It's absurd. I told people, I was like, State of Play's crush. If you want to be involved, if you want your game to get a lot of attention, being in a State of Play is a huge, huge bump in awareness for your game. They are very, very highly engaged with. Lots of people watch State of Play. So And again, I agree with people saying there was something for everyone. There really, really was. There was something for everyone. I think they did such a great job of having a good, diverse lineup. You know, so everything from like Rayman to Onimusha. We're playing Onimusha today. Don't worry. We are playing Onimusha. Thank you to everybody who watched our quick uploads last night as well. That is so helpful to us for you guys to do that. We being able to watch something like that and then immediately put uploads out there about them, that is extremely helpful. So thank you to everybody who liked and commented and watched my 2 videos last night that we put up. We put up one about Wolverine and we put one up about God of War Laufey. Tactical Gamer with 9 months. Sad. Yeah, no collector's edition. I agree. Let me bump the line by 1. We're 1 away from me owing you guys a member. Yeah, very weird choice to not do a collector's edition. I'm going to theorize that it was too expensive. Right now, raw materials and production of something like that, you would typically have, like, imagine they were going to do like a Wolverine statue or something. You'd probably have that made in a country where it just in the last 12 months got really expensive to have that thing made. That's my only theory. I'm like, how are you not doing a collector's edition for frickin' Wolverine? What? People would have gone crazy for that. Controller 2. I just wonder if the state of the world and the war and everything, like, is it affecting, like, raw material costs and shipping costs? And they were like, we can't do this. We can't. Show us your hammer? It's right there. Yeah, I mean, that's from Ragnarok, and then Venom's over there. I've got Venom, and then I got the hammer from Ragnarok, and then that's the Yote mask. It's crazy for Wolverine to not have one. It's absolutely insane. I'm like, what in the world? Just a statue of him would be amazing. I was hoping there was going to be a statue of him, like, on the head of a Sentinel. That's what I envisioned in my mind, like, the head of a Sentinel, and he'd be, like, standing on top of the Sentinel head with, like, his claws out. But again, I think production costs and raw material costs and shipping costs, everything's in a terrible spot. So they probably were like, it's too expensive. We're going to have to charge people way too much, and we'll potentially lose money on it. Nate the Hate says the Nintendo Direct is on the 8th, and I've got some people to thank here. $5 super chat from the OA. Last night my feed got a lot of people saying they never touched God of War franchise, but they were very excited to try out Laufey. There is an entire group of people probably that will enjoy Laufey because the combat's more of that fast-paced aerial juggle, a little Devil May Cry influenced, little old-school God of War influenced. I think people will be drawn to that. There was an element of Kratos' combat that people didn't like. It wasn't clunky, but it was bulky, right? He feels kind of bulky. Now he's fast, he's agile, but there is something bulky to it, very boxy. And I love playing as him, but I can get why people might not like it. MTO is going to land the plane at 275. Game industry has a problem with voice actors being used too much. Deborah Wilson in Callisto in Wolverine. Is there no other black women available? I'm going to tell you what happened with Deborah Wilson. Okay? The same thing that happened with Deborah Wilson happened with what's his name? The super handsome English guy that's in Ben Starr. I wanted to say Anthony Starr. I'm like, that's not right. I call him Anthony in my mind because it's just like my pet name for him, and we're dating. I'm just kidding. Ben Starr kind of explodes on the scene, and then everybody calls him on the phone, and he gets a ton of work. I think the same thing happened with Deborah. I think the same exact thing happened with Deborah Wilson. I think that she did well in something. I don't know what it was. I'm assuming the Jedi game is what got her tons of attention, right? I'm assuming. So she does the Jedi game and does a killer job. And people are like, hey, she's really good. We have a black woman in our game, and we want Deborah Wilson. She brought a lot of presence to Seer in the Jedi game. So her phone was probably ringing off the hook. So what's she do? She says, yes, 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 yes. And she makes that money. And then all of a sudden, all the games start showing up, and people are like, what the frick, man? Why is Deborah Wilson in everything? And she's like, like, she don't care. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't care. She got paid. and Jennifer English and Ben Starr, they don't care. They got paid. And they're probably going to show up in a bunch more games. It's not a big deal. She does a great job, but I get it. You're like, wait, wasn't it? Because she's so recognizable, and she's got such a recognizable voice and face. You're like, yeah, it's Deborah Wilson. Like, it's hard for her to be in a game and not just sort of like, yeah, that's Deborah Wilson. Like, she is talented, but she's also very recognizable. Like, if you saw her walking down the street, you'd be like, hey, it's Deborah Wilson. Like, you wouldn't even do a double take. You'd immediately know it was her. You know? So, yeah. She's been in a lot of games. She's probably going to be in a couple more before it's all said and done. We still have Summer Game Fest? Yeah. So, Summer Game Fest is Friday. There's a handful of shows on Saturday. I think we'll probably mainly focus on Future Game Show. If we hit the goal, Madam and I will stream Saturday night. We'll continue her journey through Destiny 1. And then Sunday is the Xbox Showcase, the Gears of War Direct, and the PC Game Show. We'll be covering those as well. So make sure you guys are subbed to the channel. Make sure you have your notifications turned on. That is the best way to never miss out on these shows. Thank you to everybody who has been supporting supporting the uploads and supporting the live streams. No one has a backbone for this. 3 million views on the trailer already. Sure, Jan. It's already got 3 million views, boys. If Deborah Wilson were to die, I'm sure Troy Baker could replace her in any of her roles. Stop. Imagine a Wolverine mask that doubles as a controller display. Yeah, I think they could. I think they probably had something planned. Okay, I'm really confident that this is why they didn't do it. I really am. And let me explain why there's no Wolverine Collector's Edition. It's probably because of shipping costs and raw material costs right now because of the war. Everything's too expensive, so they decided not to do it. And I can probably not prove it to you, but I might be able to convince you that this is the correct theory. Anytime you guys have ordered a Collector's Edition, what do they do right before they ship it? What do? They charge you. Why? Because I don't think they've made them yet. Like, they've made them once it ships, but I think they get all of the orders, and then they make them, and then they ship them. Now, yes, there have been some that are like they run out or whatever. They do like a limited run. But a lot of the collector's editions, I don't even know if they're made when you place the initial order. I don't know if they're even made. Because it's like, if they were made, why wouldn't you charge me right then and there, right? Why wouldn't you charge? I think they wait to charge you in the event that anything weird happens with production, or maybe they have to change it, or maybe they have to update it or something. It wouldn't surprise me at all if a lot of the times when you've ordered collector's editions, they're not even made yet. They get a gauge for like how much they need to make, and then they make them. Yeah, there's also the adamantium scarcity. That's correct. We have to keep that in mind. They're running out of adamantium. So, yeah. You are approved co-stream Summer Game Fest. Thank you very, very much. They don't get made until almost last minute. I wouldn't be surprised if that's why there's no Wolverine Collector's Edition, because they probably had a prototype, they probably had it scoped out, and when they went to do it, to order it, to do whatever, they knew it was going to sell a certain amount. Like, they can look at the pre-orders, they can look at the Collector's Edition orders of like Ghost of Yotei, Ragnarok, and Spider-Man 2, and they can probably get an approximation for how many they need to make. So they probably knew we're gonna have to make we're gonna make so many, we're gonna absolutely lose money. So are they running out of plastic? It's just really, really expensive to have anything produced and shipped right now because the world's in disarray. It just is. So yeah, they also still have Death Stranding 2 on the Beach Collector's Editions, Ghost of Yotei Collector's Editions, and Spider-Man 2 Collector's Edition. So it's possible they're like, listen, we lose money on these. They're so expensive, people don't order enough. That's weird, though. Maybe my theory's wrong. If they didn't sell all of them, well, maybe people cancel their order. Maybe people get buyer's remorse. They're like, yeah, $200. Yeah, because they remind you, right? They're like, hey, we're getting ready to charge you for your collector's edition. I wonder if they get a lot of people that when the dust of emotion calms down and settles down, they're no longer impulse buying. They cancel their collector's edition order, and then they're left sitting on thousands of collector's editions. You know what I mean? Because in the moment, you're like, yeah, I want one. But then, like Paul is saying, 220 pounds in the UK is way too much. Like 220 pounds for the Death Stranding collector's edition. Maybe people get buyer's remorse after they get that email. It's like, hey, we're getting ready to charge you money. And you're like, no, cancel my order. Thank you so much for renewing your sub over there, Go Podge, your Prime sub over there on Twitch. I appreciate you. Both Wolverine and Faye are trending like ratio is super high. Yeah. I've told you guys before that the haters pick bad targets, and then they have to just continue to make things up and lie. They went after Yote and they embarrassed themselves. They're going to do the same thing with Faye. They're going to do the same thing with Wolverine. They're going to claim Jean's ugly. They're going to claim nobody asked for this with Faye, and then they're going to learn a really hard lesson that like it's going to sell incredibly well and people are going to be happy and it's going to review very well. It just is. You can tell. You can already tell the interest is so stinking high for both games. I don't agree with David Jaffe. He's like, oh, I don't think it'll be commercially successful. I think Jaffe's dead wrong. Like, he's allowed to have his opinion. He is totally allowed to have his opinion. He can dislike it. He can think that it looked boring. You know, that's his opinion. I don't agree with him, and I don't think it's going to be a commercial failure. I do not. Not with the current viewership and the intrigue and the interest. There's just too many people that pay attention to the God of War franchise, and seeing it as an extension of the Kratos story and the story with Atreus, I think fans of 2018 are going to really, really want to know what happened. Like, 2018 sold really, really well, and people are going to want to know what happened. They're going to want to know. They're like, what? She went to some other place and she's interacting with Kratos all throughout the game. And wait a minute, she interacted with Kratos in 2018. She blew the horn in 2018. She tried to find Kratos and she tried to help Kratos in Ragnarok. Like, come on. People are going to want to know what happened to Faye. And I don't know how many times I have to say this, but it's Deborah and Walt. People. No, there's no Wolverine Collector's Edition. Do you think it will sell as well as Kratos' God of War? Well, I don't know if it'll sell as well as 2018 and Ragnarok combined. I think it'll be in their hemisphere. Yes, I think it will be. I don't think it'll surpass 2018. 2018 went bonkers. You have to understand something. And this is where people judge game sales very incorrectly. They think that if you don't surpass the first game, you're a failure. But what they don't realize is the first game being so successful, they only need a percentage of those people to buy it in order for the next game to be successful. Like the first game being crazy successful. Now 2018 is not the first game, but it's the first game in that style, okay? It's the first game in that style. And it sold really, really, really well. I mean, it went bonkers. Like the reveal, people lost their dadgum minds, okay? And so if you get a percentage of the people that bought 2018 to buy Faye, you have made your money easy. Like zero questions. You've made your money. So I don't think they're worried at all if it doesn't sell as well as like 2018. I like David Jaffe, but I can't believe what he said about the new God of War game. So I like Jaffe too, and I may have him on the show to debate this and discuss this because I think that would be very fun. Believing the best about Jaffe, I just think he's very passionate about God of War. I think he is still sort of tenaciously protective of it, and I think when he sees stuff that he feels like kind of steps out of bounds, he gets very, very critical. He was very critical of the Metroidvania, Sons of Sparta. He was very critical. Now, he and I agreed about Sons of Sparta. We thought it was bad. We thought it was a bad game. Now, he had different particular reasons for him not liking it. But I think there's just something in him that is protective of it, which is understandable. And I think it makes him say things that are very, very critical. And I think that's where I can't agree with him because I'm like, well, I don't have that innate protection that you have. So I just look at it and think, that freaking looks awesome. Like, he is protective of God of War as he sees it should be, which is fine. I mean, he has every right to feel that protection. I'm a fan of Santa Monica. Like, I played God of War 2018, and I was like, I ain't ever played a game like this. That was what I experienced. I played God of War 2018, and I was like, I have never played a game like this. Just go watch the scene where it's like, dun, 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 like the music is like, boom, and he's like, boy. And you're like, what the heck? He's like, I come from a land. And he's like, goes on his speech to Atreus about where he comes from. I've never freaking played a game with that level of gravitas and like, there's so much, it's sanctimonious. It's like, oh my word, it's meaningful, it's cool. And then, oh yeah, also the gameplay's incredible. Because people want to be like, oh, but they're movie games. It's like, you've never played them if you think they're movie games. You haven't. The combat is deep and varied. You're not button mashing. It can be very difficult if you want it to be as well. You can turn the difficulty up. You're saying it, I'm getting goosebumps. Yes, I've never played a game like God of War 2018, and I'm glad I played it a second time. El Pastor Taco says, just saw a theory on Instagram that Kratos popping up momentarily in the Everywhen in the trailer is when Thor killed him. We know that time acts differently in the Everywhen. I think people are just having fun. That theory doesn't have a lot of grounds. Yes, when he's dead, he could visit Faye in the afterlife. There's no reason for it to be right at that moment because she's been in the Everywhen for 20 minutes. Now, time acts differently in the Everywhen, so she could be bouncing in and out of 2018 and Ragnarok at completely different random points of time in her journey in her game. But there's no reason to think that precise moment is that moment from the trailer, because it's like he also, in 2018, he goes into another realm and he's gone for hours, and Atreus has to fight the elves by himself. He has to fight by himself. He's like, you were gone for hours. And Kratos is like, I was gone for moments. He was somewhere. I think he might have been in the Everywhen, and time acts differently in the Everywhen. So he was in the Everywhen for moments, and it was hours for Atreus. I think, and see, here's the thing. I think Santa Monica had this planned all along. I think they had this planned all along. I think the stories have been interwoven from that moment. From that moment. Thanks for all the spoilers, guys. It's an 8-year-old game. Get the frick over it. Like, if you're upset about spoilers in an 8-year-old game, that's your own fault. Play it. What are you doing? You're in a channel and a YouTube stream about a state of play about a game called God of War Laufey that's the continuation of a story from a game that's 8 years old. If you're upset about spoilers, that's a self-inflicted wound. You're punching yourself in the face and you're blaming us. What are you even doing? God of War's been on PC for how long? Jiminy Christmas. No wonder if Christopher Judge got the call for the leaking. Yeah, Judge made it clear there was more Kratos coming, and they've made it clear there's more Kratos games coming. Yo, Chrono, thank you for the raid. That theory makes me excited. People are pulling up interviews, and they're finding Cory Barlog talking about how this was all, they've got this all planned out. It's all planned out. And I think there are definitive moments in God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok that are pre-planned to touch down on God of War Laufey. That's why it's called God of War Laufey, by the way, because it's within that story. It's Kratos' story. She is still attached to Kratos' story. And I think she's the one that blows the horn in 2018. I think we're going to do that in God of War Laufey. I think we're going to do it. It's going to be freaking awesome. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat, the English OA. Cory Barlog to iGen, quote, none of this is like we're telling a side story. This is all a new chapter in the same book, a massive book, and we are starting to show that this has more than you could have ever imagined. Had a guy give me crap about spoilers in The Witcher 3 a couple years ago. Yeah, that's your own fault. You're in a conversation about games that have been out for a long time. God of War looked awesome, said Chrono. It did. They did such a good job with 2018 and Ragnarok. I trust them. I trust Santa Monica. I have no reason not to. Oh, and by the way, people are trying to call out Ariel Winter like she's not qualified to be to be in charge of this game. She has been working on God of War for 20 years. 20 years. These people are idiots. They're like pulling up her history with the company. They're like, she has, Ariel Lawrence. Sorry. Who's Ariel Winter? Isn't she from, Ariel Winter's the actress. Freudian slip, boys. But you can't blame me. Anyways, Ariel Lawrence has been working on the God of War franchise for 20 years. 20 years! It's like she was a writer on God of War 2, on God of War 3, on God of War Ascension. Like, what are people so upset about? It's like she's been at the company for 20 years. They didn't, bring her in out of nowhere. Faxlono, no one speaks about that enough. She wasn't just hired. That's what I'm saying. Since 2005, so 21 years, she's been working on God of War as a franchise. And people are like, I can't, she's not qualified to work on these. She's more qualified than you, grifting on Twitter. She probably knows more about the characters, the lore, the history, and everything they've built because she's literally been there for 2 decades. She's got more time working on the franchise than some of these guys have ever probably even been alive. She left and came back because she wanted to work for Corey. Oh, I didn't realize there was a time where she left. In any case, she was back there working on the originals. I don't know if she worked on 2018 or Ragnarok. Like I said, guys, that was a Freudian slip, but you literally can't blame me for confusing the name and saying Ariel Winter instead. I'm sorry. It's a name that's, it's a name that's just emblazoned on my brain. I mean, what are we doing here? Just like people complaining about Jean Grey and Wolverine, shut up and enjoy the game. Well, and this is the actor. This is the actor for Jean Grey. She looks like the character in the game. That's exactly what she looks like in the game. Same jawline, same nose, same everything. They complain about them never looking like the actress. She does. She does. I think it goes deeper. Oh, that's right. Atreus picks up this mask at one point, and they're asking about masks. Right? And with him being the god of mischief, don't they say at one point in the trailer, don't they say something to her about wearing a mask? I believe she said she worked briefly on the 2018 game before taking a leave and then coming back. So she was with God of War from 2005 all the way to 2018, takes a break and then comes back. That's still an amazing track record. At the very least, she worked on the franchise for a decade and has come back to work on Laufey. That she is perfectly capable and qualified to work on a God of War game if she worked on the games all the way back in 2005. My biggest mistake away from the state of play, Capcom will go 3 for 3 this year with Onimusha. Capcom's got Publisher of the Year. Yeah, we're going to be playing the Onimusha demo. Guys, if you haven't hit the like button yet, everybody go crazy on the like button right now. Let's try to get to 400 likes. If you've been enjoying the show, the back and forth and all of that, please hit that like button. Even though I'm spanning, I want D3 on the chat. Yeah, that's fine. You can want D3. She mentioned there's another mask. Kratos and Atreus are in danger. The path isn't safe. Yeah, because he finds... yeah, that's the thing that's going to be really fun for people to do. There's going to be a ton of videos made where... There are going to be a ton of videos made where they are going to be going and finding every single potential touchstone of Faye in 2018 in Ragnarok. They were talking about the mask and experiencing what Odin was wanting to find out in Ragnarok. Yeah, Capcom's crushing this year. I think Capcom's going to be up there. Pragmata's going to get a Game of the Year nomination. RE9's going to get a Game of the Year nomination. And based on what I'm hearing about Onimusha, it could It could easily get up there for a nomination as well. Easily. There's more than one mask. Why is there a splinter of a mask lodged in her hand? We don't know. We don't know. They don't explain it. She's scratching at it when she first is like interacting with herself, and then the Egyptian god takes it out of her hand. I don't have no idea what's going on there. They don't say. Insomniac and Capcom have delivered this gen like no other devs. This is where gods go when they die, right? Is this the split that Odin got Atreus to look into for all-knowing? Maybe. The Mongolian god mentioned the path is closed and there's no way out. So what happens if it opens? Very, very good point, Nick, because that could be how things culminate in another game where gods are getting out and she has to meet up with Kratos and they have to fight and protect the realm that they end up in or something. Also, people are like, well, she's not a god. How'd she end up there? And it's like, I'm assuming they're going to explain that. I don't think you're supposed to be like, yeah, this makes perfectly good sense. Faye is in the Everwen with a bunch of gods. I don't think you're supposed to be like, yeah, this makes sense in the lore. I had a guy spamming like every tweet about it. He replied to like every tweet, and he was like, this is the afterlife for the gods. How is she there? And we're like, that's literally the mystery gap. You're supposed to be like, wait, why is she here? That's the entire point of the story. Every story starts with a crisis, and then there's a struggle, and then there's a resolution. That's the crisis that's supposed to provoke the mystery of like, wait, why is she in this place? That's the entire point. It's not supposed to be like, oh no, yeah, it totally makes sense that she's here. Everybody can tell that she's not supposed to be there. The whole trailer is communicating that she's not supposed to be there. Doesn't she say you thought this would protect you or something as soon as she takes out the fragment from her hand? You think this could set you free, she says. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's supposed to be a bunch of little breadcrumbs of mystery to make us curious about what in the world's going on. That's the whole point of the trailer. And I think they did a great job. Absolutely stole the show. Absolutely shameless. God of War Laufey gameplay walkthrough part 1 intro. I mean, listen. You know, it's not wrong. It's not inaccurate. It is the beginning of the game. I mean, don't hate the player. You know, hate the game. I mean, I don't know. It's not wrong. Get that money, bro. It's going to be a while before the game's out, and you have part 1 ready to go. I'm sorry. I think that's great. I think that's creative. Points for creativity. There was no lie in Pippin's eye. Like, there's no lie. It's true. It's part 1. It's part 1 of God of War Laufey. You know, we should check that video out. We should see what it's like. Oh, frick. Hey, Game Riot's in chat. I did the same video. It's the beginning of the game. That's what I'm saying. Don't hate the player. Hate the game. You're on the top of the algo whenever that game finally drops. People are going to want to see part 1. And you're going to be like, I got you, fam. I got like a 9-month-old video for you. It's not clickbait. It isn't. It's pretty accurate. It is literally the opening of the game. They show the button to start the game. It's the classic God of War open. They have the same way. 2018 and Ragnarok open the same way. I thought that was awesome. I was like, oh, this is the opening of the game. Oh my gosh. And they hit the button. And there they go. I was in. I was like, let's go. This is great. Oh my golly. Game Riot, I follow you on Twitter. If you ever want to be a mutual, I love having folks on the show. If you like doing podcasts and live shows, feel free to reach out. We've been doing more and more guest segments on the show, especially once Summer Game Fest is over. Would love to have you on. It'd be great. To be fair, he does a lot of part ones, which aren't part ones, so and people don't complain. At least in this case, it's a part one. I mean, it really is. YouTube algo is confused because part one is 2 years old by the time part two comes out. This is true. But if the video has good watch time, click rate, and good views and likes, it'll get rejuvenated. It will. That's kind of how it works. Like, YouTube will grab that video again, because I think God of War Laufey launches like first quarter next year. I think it does. And I think by the time that happens, those videos, the people that were smart to do that, those videos will get grabbed and they'll spin them up. YouTube will spin them up again because people are going to be looking for them. It's what people look for. It's like the number one search term for a game before and after it comes out is gameplay. Yo, Winged Wheel, thank you so much for the gifted member. I appreciate it so much. It's evergreen content. It really is, because the part one of games, even years after they're out, still get hits. So it's a perfectly legitimate strategy. The guy you mentioned is a millionaire. Yeah, I mean, people that run channels like that, I mean, yeah, they make very good money. Now, there are some channels that do it that I find infuriating, like they throw the 4K and the PlayStation thing on it, and they just re-upload trailers, and they'll claim that it's new. I get tired of that because it's misleading, but I mean, you know, the way the platform works, you know, I'm making money. So it's like definitely launching February or March. So are the God of War remakes going to be PlayStation 6 releases? I don't know the speed with which they're making the God of War remakes, because when they made the announcement for God of War remakes, they said that they had just entered production. So I'm not particularly sure what the timeline would be there. Like, all three of them, are they able to do them relatively quickly? We don't even know what they're going to look like. It seemed pretty clear from what Christopher Judge accidentally leaked. It's going to be an all-new combat system. So you're not going to be playing like the old versions of God of War 1, 2, and 3 with just like better graphics. They're going to be new interpretations of those games. I think it's going to be closer to the combat system. Well, I actually think God of War Laufey is a really good insight into what God of War 1, 2, and 3 are going to play like. They can put the camera behind you and still give you just insanely fast, combat. Last comment. Hang on 1 second, Wolf Saints. Alana said she came up for the name for the Everwin when she said she was happy and surprised that they kept it. I would love to interview her, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to make that work. But ready to Lego Batman comes to Nintendo Switch on September the 18th. Okay, they've got a Lego Batman release date for the Switch. I did like this tweet from Lucky. I thought this was fantastic. Astacross after the Sony State of Play. Tell Sony I want them to know it was me. It's so good. It's so good. His face. His face. He's so smug. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh. Game Right says, did you grade the State of Play from last night? I liked it. Oh, I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, I guess I didn't give it a grade. I'd give it a 9. It was one of my favorites. The one earlier this year with like Saros was amazing. Saros is one of my favorite games this year. It and Pragmata are basically tied for first place for me. So, yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Now, obviously, some of that's because I'm a huge fan of Wolverine, and I'm also a huge Santa Monica fan. So, reach out to Rahul. He'll be able to help you have Alana on. Yeah, I may end up doing that. Yeah, that tweet from Lucky is spectacular. I felt people were harsh on it. Glad to hear you liked it. Here's what happens, at least in my experience with State of Plays. Here's what happens. If there's not enough first party, people complain. In this scenario, there was a very, very good amount of first party. There's 10 minutes of Wolverine and then 20 minutes of God of War Laufey, and then we got the Until Dawn announcement. That's not bad at all. That's out of an hour-long show or whatever, 3 of the announcements were first party. And 2 of those were very, very lengthy, uncut looks at gameplay. That's fantastic. That's what I always want. I don't want hyper-edited stuff. I don't want hyper-edited cuts. I hate simulated gameplay. It drives me freaking crazy. Simulated gameplay is so irritating, right? Xbox, unfortunately, is very guilty of this. They did simulated gameplay with Fable multiple times, and it was very misrepresentative of where the game actually was developmentally. They did simulated gameplay with State of Decay 3. It drives me nuts. They did simulated gameplay with, Perfect Dark, and it's like, that's not the game. That's not the game. And then with this, it's like lengthy gameplay of Wolverine. Awesome. Lengthy gameplay of God of War. Awesome. And then everything else. Now, September is getting a little bit jammed, but we anticipated that. I told people, I was like, everybody is going to want to avoid October. I said, you watch. People are going to avoid October because they know October is the runway to GTA 6. And it's going to be just a marketing bull rush from them. And you're not going to want to be trying to launch your game then because you're going to get drowned. But, I mean, we had Wolverine, then we had Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls, then we had the Rayman remake. Kamuri looks good. That's an action game, by the way, not a live service game. Tomb Raider looks better than it did the first time. I think it looks great. The Lost Wild was like the scary Jurassic Park-style game. Phantom Blade Zero did get delayed, but still this year. I think Phantom Blade might slip to next year because October 29th is a rough date, but they're a Chinese company, Chinese game, and the PC Chinese audience is huge, and you can't get GTA 6 on PC, so I don't think they have a lot to worry about right there. Dune Awakening, there was the prequel to Dave the Diver, Dynasty Warriors 3 Remastered, No Rest for the Wicked coming to console, Onimusha got a release date and a shadow dropped demo, Silent Hill Townfall got a release date, Ace Combat 8 got a release date, Stuntman Hollywood, Ill, Control Resonant got a release date, Marathon Season 2, womp womp. PlayStation Plus was fine, like some games coming to PlayStation Plus, Until Dawn 2, and then God of War Laufey. I'm like, I don't know what people want. I thought that was a great showcase. 2 super chats from Street Shadow, and they're both $10. Street Shadow says, there's importance with calling it Laufey and myth is the mother. Okay, there's importance with calling it Laufey and myth is the mother of Loki. In the MCU, it was the Ice Giant King in Thor. Also, the gameplay was very similar to OG God of War, which I think plays into the remakes. I just made that point, Street Shadow. I said, I think Laufey gives us a window into how the gameplay is going to be in the remakes, because it's very fast. Next super chat. Sony could show 6 games in a show and people would still complain because it's not about the amount of games. It's that people want hyper-specific game, and if it's not shown, then Sony has no games. Yeah, I was just getting ready to say that. Like, if they don't show the game that you were wanting to see, or you don't like the games that they showed, you're like, yeah, it was mid and it sucked. Now, I told people if they would have opened up the show with Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls and ended the show with Gran Turismo 8, I would have been disappointed because those games don't really speak to me. But I would still not grade the showcase on like, oh, that sucked, that was lame, because I didn't like the 2 main games they showed. Or the 2 main first-party games that they showed. I think she'd be under NDA not to really talk about the game until after release. I'll just express interest, and if she has to circle back once it's out, that's totally fine. I think a lot of Pierce got into a lot of hot water for saying that she had wrote for God of War. I think she slipped up when she said that, and she was talking about God of War Laufey, and that's why she had to keep that quiet and delete that clip. I do. I think that's why she had to do that. I think she slipped up. She had to be very guarded. She did, in fact, write for God of War. It was just God of War Faye. It wasn't God of War Ragnarok or 2018. And the stories are so interwoven, it would make sense why she would slip up and say what she said, because the stories are connected. There's going to be a bunch of moments, I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a bunch of moments in Laufey that connect to 2018 and Ragnarok. I think that they're going to have us blow the horn. And I think Faye is going to interact with Kratos at least a handful of times. Nick says, when the guy said the last announcement was going to be 20 minutes for a special game, I dropped on my knee praying it wouldn't be fair games. I couldn't believe they gave Laufey all that time. I said something about this in the show open, Nick. Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls and Marathon were the only 2 live service games in the show, and they're already out and announced. They're already in the ether, and people are excited about Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls, and the Season 2 slot was probably already slated for Marathon regardless of how it launched. There was a pretty good absence of live service. Nothing for Horizon Hunters Gathering, nothing for Fair Games, which we now believe is called Break-In. They let the Fair Games trademark lapse, and then they signed the new trademark for Break-In. I was actually glad. I was like, just keep, and what I think I said this a while ago, I was like, keep live service out of the picture right now. Nobody wants to hear about live service from you guys, especially with the state of Destiny and the questions about whether or not Destiny launches. So is Cory Barlog still working on something else? Yes. Yeah. Somebody was out there saying that. This isn't his game. I thought that it was. Yeah. This is not the game that he's been working on. Yeah, no Fair Games, no For Loop. Yep. Keep live service out of the frame right now. It's not, I don't think it's a good call to talk about anything with live service. You missed my super chat? I'm so sorry, Edward Hulse. A £5 super chat from Edward Hulse. The state of play was Sony throwing down the gauntlet and saying, beat that to Jeff and Xbox. God of War Laufey, Control Resonant, Until Dawn, grade A show. I think Xbox is going to have a killer show, by the way. I think we're in for an absolute treat. We're not done yet. Keeley's show is always pretty good. Future Game Show is always pretty good. But I think Xbox is going to kill it. I think they're going to kill it. They've got a killer lineup. I think that's why they got the Fable delay out of the way. They didn't want that to even be a focal point. They want to be able to probably just show more of Fable and not focus on the fact that it's not coming this year. But I think Xbox is going to have a really good show. I feel like they always have a good show. My biggest frustration with them is they rarely hit their roadmaps, they rarely hit their release dates, and they show too much simulated gameplay. I really hope they move away from that. I'm hoping Gears of War E-Day is very substantive, lots of uncut gameplay. I'm very excited about that game. I want Gears of War E-Day to do really, really well. I'm convinced Fable can be amazing. They just need to give it time. It did not look ready at the developer direct. It looked very, very rough. And then we have Forza's already out and doing very well. You know? So, I think they're going to have a killer show. Corey is the head of creative at Santa Monica Studio. This involves working with game directors like Ariel Lawrence and guiding the long-term vision for all the games in the series. No Fable? I feel like Fable will be there. That's why they announced the delay. Because they want to be able to show it and not have everybody curious about the release date. So, I could be wrong, but that's my gut instinct on it, is that they delayed Fable so that they could show more gameplay and not deal with it. So as Cory Barlog isn't directing God of War Laufey, then what has he been directing this whole time? So they replied to MBG. MBG literally asking the question. Because Cory is not the one directing Laufey. Ariel Lawrence is. And she worked on God of War 2, 3, and God of War Ascension. She's worked on God of War for a very long time. She was at least working on the franchise for over 15 years. For over 10 years, left and came back. So she's very, very qualified to handle the God of War franchise. Do not believe these grifters that are trying to act like she shouldn't be touching the game. She has a long-standing of experience writing and producing the God of War games. And so Santa Monica replies and says, Cory is the head of creative at Santa Monica Studio. This involves working with game directors like Ariel Lawrence and guiding the long-term vision for all games in the series. He has a game. So they've got to have something to show. State of Decay 3 said enough. I don't think State of Decay 3 is going to be at the Xbox showcase because that homie said in that trailer they just started working on the game. He wasn't the director for Ragnarok either. He's had to have been working on something then. You know what I mean? Xbox is going to have the best show. They always do. I mean, they're good at the shows. It's what Xbox is good at. Now, if you want to go back and actually like receipt pull how accurate their shows were with respect to roadmaps, timing, and games coming out, they're not good. Like, they put on a great show, and then a bunch of the games don't even make it on time. Their roadmaps are always really, really inaccurate, and they love showing games that are not even remotely ready, and a lot of it's just like fake gameplay, like the fake gameplay for Fable and State of Decay 3, and the very, very heavily scripted and simulated gameplay of Perfect Dark, and then Perfect Dark got canceled. So, like, yeah, their shows are always amazing, but then if you actually, like, receipt pull them, and you're like, well, how many of the games actually came out or were on time, and how well did the roadmap shape out? They never do. They're always terrible in that department, and I think it's because Microsoft is like, we want something. The State of Decay trailer 3 from way back when, the studio behind the game didn't even make it. Somebody else made that trailer because Microsoft wanted a trailer. They wanted a trailer. So somebody just cooked up a trailer for that game to the point that there aren't even going to be zombie animals in the game. Like the big turning point, the big hinge turn of that trailer, it's not even it's not even going to actually be in the game. Now, I'm not going to sit here and like bemoan and cry and be like, oh, no zombie animals. But that's pretty significant that you basically made a trailer that doesn't even actually represent the product. You just wanted something to put in the dadgum showcase. That's why I've said going into this year's showcase, Xbox doesn't need to do any of that. You've got tons of property. You've got a killer lineup. Cut the shenanigans. Just stop. Give us nice long looks at games. And give us release dates. That's all you got to do. Let us see Gears of War E-Day. I'm glad it's getting a direct. Like I said, Forza 6 is already doing very well. Fable got delayed to next year. Great. Listen, to all the people that jumped on my tweet, and they're like, it's delayed because of GTA 6. It's delayed because of GTA 6. Okay. Well, then I expect to see significantly better gameplay at the showcase. I expect to see significantly better gameplay because what they showed at the Developer Direct was very rough and very chopped up, and there was no open world gameplay at all. So, if that game was ready, if it was ready to go, and it only got delayed because of GTA 6, then they better have some really good gameplay to show because it did not look good at the Developer Direct. It looked rough. I've had King David on the show, and King David agreed with me. He didn't say, I agree with Lono, but when he reacted to that gameplay, he said it looked rough. It looked bad. Or I don't know if he said it looked bad, but I don't think he thought it looked very good. Halo, Gears, OD, Blade, and Clockwork. Yeah, I don't know about Clockwork. I feel like Clockwork is still a ways out. I think Clockwork's a late next year release. I'd love it for Clockwork to have some really good gameplay and a release date. I think Clockwork Revolution looks awesome. It looks awesome. A £5 super chat from Edward Hulse says, hoping for real gameplay for Resonance Plague Tale Legacy at the Xbox Showcase. Rumor suggests it could be coming late August. Plague Tale Resonance tweeted yesterday, the game is still on pace for this year. So I believe it's at the Xbox Showcase, and I believe we get the release date. And yes, I think it's August. June and July could still have some surprises for us. Both June and July are very thin. So there could be some games that try to slam out and get ready and launch. Now, unfortunately, that could mean that they're not ready, because I think like AC Resynced is like the biggest launch for June and July, I believe. I think that's it, isn't it? What has Xbox got coming this year? Is Gears of War even coming out this year? I don't even know if it's coming out this year. It's on the list. Yeah, Clockwork Revolution is on the coming to Game Pass list. Maybe Clockwork's a surprise. That would be killer. That would be killer. If they finally give us a lengthy look at Clockwork and it comes out in like June or July, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Rumor is September. Frickin' September is just insane. Please don't put any more games in September. Poor September is like, no more. No, please. It's too many. It's too many. You know? So is Fable. Yeah. She got Kratos certain parts. Yes, agreed. I think there are going to be parts where she interacts with Kratos for sure. What gameplay? It was just a bunch of automatic action sequences with combat sprinkled in. You don't understand combat and gameplay. I guess. Yeah, the way people are talking about like how Wolverine had no gameplay and the God of War game had no gameplay, it's like you guys don't understand what gameplay is. You're just proving you don't play video games. Like there was tons of gameplay. They were showing you uncut gameplay. So yes, it goes from a short cinematic sequence, a quick time event, and then back to combat, traversal, sneaking. The problem is you're too accustomed to like highly edited videos that don't let you see uncut gameplay. It's like you guys don't remember what uncut gameplay looks like. Yeah, it's going to have all the pieces and the parts. So God of War Laufey and Wolverine show us uncut gameplay. So you know you're looking at the real deal. And people are like, yeah, but it wasn't. It was a lot of other stuff. It wasn't gameplay. And it's like, oh my gosh. September is worse than releasing in November. It's become worse, yes. Yeah, because Phantom Blade Zero moved out of September. And again, I think they're going to be fine because they're more Chinese-based, and they'll probably sell very well on the PC market, in the Chinese market, because there's, I don't think Chinese, culture in GTA are probably all that strong. I could be wrong, but there's no GTA 6 on PC, so at least not initially. R2 gameplay? Yeah, I know, but there was tons of gameplay in Laufey. She has an entire fighting sequence at the beginning. She has another fighting sequence with a bunch of ads, and then she fights a boss. So yes, there were multiple times where she's holding down R, but it's the beginning of the game. That's what they do. It's classic God of War open. You move, you walk, you hit a button, you move, you walk, you hit a button, and then all of a sudden there's a fight. And then you move and you walk, you hit a button, and then all of a sudden there's a fight. Now, yes, you can disingenuously, ignore all of the fight sequences and all the combat. If you break down her fight with that boss, it's insane what she's doing. There's so much going on. She has blocks and parries. She has a dodge where she disappears. She has the sword. She has abilities with the sword. She can lift people into the air and juggle them like Devil May Cry. She can also do something where she knocks their soul out of their body and then she uses them as a weapon. There were multiple pieces of evidence that this is a very deep and robust combat system, just like in 2018 in Ragnarok. And the bad faith actors and the people that lie about these games will be like, they're just movie games, there's no gameplay. And it's like, there is a ridiculous amount of gameplay. If you play Ragnarok in 2018 and you conclude that it was just a movie game with no gameplay, I don't believe you. I don't think you played it. I don't believe you. It's like, no, you didn't play the game. There is such a ridiculous amount of gameplay in combat. And the combat is deep. There's so many things you can do. Just comb through the RPG systems and the runic abilities. It's vast. There's so many different ways to outfit your character and play. You can play completely differently than I do in 2018 and in Ragnarok. It's intellectually bankrupt to keep driving these narratives about these games. It is absolutely intellectually bankrupt. Just say you don't like the games or play them in secret and claim that they're no good. Just spare us all, the trouble of having to listen to these inane ramblings about, they're movie games and you just press a button and it's all scripted. And it's like, you've clearly never played these games, ever, if you think that. Because they're not at all scripted. You can get your literal face caved in if you don't know what you're doing, and especially if you increase the difficulty. I don't think people know the history of God of War. Yeah, Destin saying it shouldn't have the name God of War. Again, he's speaking before he even fully understands what the story is. It is a story that is interwoven with the story of Kratos. So it makes perfectly good sense to call it God of War. It's God of War Laufey. It's a story told within the God of War story. It's like a big fat book called God of War, and this is the section that's about Laufey. That's all this is. It's still God of War. It really is that simple. It really is that simple. It's not that complicated. It's completely interwoven and connected to what happens to the events of 2018 in Ragnarok. People just jump to conclusions. It's like, did you watch the trailer? Were you paying attention? A God of War story? No, they're extending the franchise. It makes perfectly good sense to go God of War Ragnarok, God of War Laufey, God of War Loki, because I bet you we get one of those. And then whatever God of War, ends up happening with Kratos, whatever they call it, it makes perfectly good sense to keep them all within that name framing. I mean, even the platformer is like what? God of War Sons of Sparta, God of War Ascension. Like, it's all in the same franchise. You'll also be meeting and fighting other gods of war. Yeah, 3-stream streak from Bubble Pants. My theory is Wolverine is rescuing mutants, leads to forming the school for gifted mutants as a post-credits type. Oh, it could set up the X-Men game. That's a really good theory, Bumble Pants. I didn't see that until just now. I would do Laufey, a God of War story. That's fine. I mean, they're the ones who own the franchise, and I think they understand marketing a whole lot better than the rest of us, because everybody right now is looking for God of War Laufey, and it makes God of War as a franchise more even stronger historically as a piece of property. Like, God of War Laufey, God of War Loki. But Loki's not the God of War. Who the frick cares? You know what I mean? It's a franchise name. I don't think people are understanding. Like, Ghosts of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotei, they don't really call her a ghost. They call her a what do they call her? It's the spirit that comes back to haunt you from the dead or whatever. That's what they call her, and they don't actually ever call her ghost. They're not like, oh, she's the ghost of Yotei. They call her an Oni. Isn't that what it's called? An Onryo. Onryo. Yeah, she's called an Onryo. Like, they don't call it the Onryo of Yotei, but it's Ghost is the franchise. You know what I mean? Like, I think people are you're being a little, some of you are being artistic, but some of you are being, like, rigid and pedantic. It's like, it's God of War franchise. I don't understand why people are so averse to adding another game to the God of War series. They literally haven't missed. What are you whining about? Here's the thing, Paris, and I think this is where it can get very, very frustrating. There are people in the conversation that literally are not a part of the conversation in good faith. So they comb over every trailer, and they will take the worst screenshots they can to be like referring to her as ugly. I think Asmongold referred to her as like looking like your typical stay-at-home mom. And I'm like, yes, I'm sure that's what you think of Deborah Ann Wall. Like what? Like no one's going to cosplay as her. I'm like, I don't think you understand her standing within geekdom. I don't think people understand the pull that she has. She's going to be at Comic Cons with lines to talk to her. People are going to cosplay as her. It's Deborah Ann Wall. She's beloved right now. She is. She's a hot ticket item. She crushed it in Daredevil, and I'm telling you, that clip of her teaching John Bernthal how to do D&D, when that went viral, it gave her so much geek cred. People are like, she is friggin' awesome. Who is this? Like, she's at a threshold that I do not think people understand what she brings to the table. They don't. She's likable, she's charming, she's a great actor, she's very pretty, and I think she can do interviews and hold her own. She's very media trained. She's awesome. She's absolutely awesome. And it's like, I think people are completely missing the boat. Number one, she don't look like a stay-at-home mom. She looks like a frickin' warrior goddess to me. I mean, the screenshots are undeniable. Yeah, you can intentionally, get bad screenshots. But, like, are you freaking kidding me? Just this shot alone. She looks freaking tough. What are you talking about? She looks awesome there. And right here? What are we saying? Right there? She looks great. Now, yes, she woke up from being dead, so you can find shots like this where the lighting is a little bit, not flattering, and she looks a little disheveled. But it's like, a lot of these guys don't understand lighting systems in video games, or they do, and they intentionally grab the worst screenshots. Did you ever looking like that at 41? What kind of neighborhood did you grow up in where that's a typical stay-at-home mom? I want to move there. That's what I'm saying, Parasito. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, bro, put some respect on Deborah's name, okay? She's from True Blood and she's Karen Page. Like, we need to stop this. We need to stop. You're looking silly. Telling you she'll give Kratos himself a run for his money. She did such a good job in the small bits that she showed up in Ragnarok. That's why when we started hearing rumors that they might do a God of War Faye game, I kept telling you guys know I said this. Anybody who's been in the show consistently lately, you know I kept saying, Deborah Ann Wall's incredible. If they can get her, she'll be fantastic, and they can make her more agile, and they can make it a lot more like the combat from the older games. That's literally what they did. I had no inside information. I wasn't playing games. Right? I wasn't playing games. I wasn't like, oh, I've got inside information, so I'm going to make it look like I made like predictions or something. I was literally just speculating on what they could do with her character. I even said at one moment they could give her a sword instead of the Leviathan axe, because we know the Leviathan axe is hers. I think everybody presumed it'd be a prequel. It ain't a prequel, and they give her a sword. It's freaking dope. That's where I know her from. It's Karen Page from Daredevil. That's what I'm saying. She has geekdom pull. I don't think people understand who they're freaking talking about. She's going to go to events and pressers and promote this thing. People are going to be thrilled and excited to meet her and get her autograph and cosplay as her. She is a great, great main character actor for this game. She's going to crush it. She's got media training to promote Disney property. She's been through the ringer. Like, she's not going to go out and, like, make a mistake and be like, this game's all about girl power. Like, she's not going to do that. She's not. Thank you for the 10 spot, the OA. I hate when they sell us Lord of the Rings game that doesn't have Lord of the Rings or a Frodo or a Gandalf. I mean, Lord of the Rings with just dwarves or Moria is not Lord of the Rings, right? That's exactly right. It's a franchise banner name like Lord of the Rings, or Nick even said a little bit ago, the Elder Scrolls. I think the best part of the game is that it's not a prequel. Yes, I love that, Savage Shark Bite. Do you want to know why? It creates a bunch of mystery and intrigue. We don't know what happens. We're like, what the frick? She was in another place adjacent to the events of God of War 2018 and Ragnarok? Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. A prequel would have been cool, but it's like we kind of know how it ends. She dies. Like, it would have been a little less exciting. Now it's like, does she get back? Does she get back to Kratos? Can they fight alongside of each other? Like, there's all these questions that bubble to the surface because it's not a prequel. I liked her in True Blood, but I fell in love with her once I found out she was into D&D and video games. She's a geek's geek. I'm telling you, people have completely lost the plot thinking that this game is bad or woke or that she's not pretty or she's not a good lead. I'm telling you, and I've said this very many times, these guys are going to break their necks because they pick bad targets, and the rest of the gaming world and the rest of the global geekdom community is going to say, man, shut the frick up. She's dope, and this game looks cool. Like, that's what this is going to turn into. They like, it was a little bit different with Yote. Yote was commercially successful and did just fine, even though people were really, really going after it and, like, downvoting the trailers and stuff. But this is different because now you're going after somebody that people like. Like, to be fair, Erika Ishii, I don't have anything against her, but she was kind of easy to become like public enemy. Like, people didn't like her. She had some posts. She's got some views. She's got kind of a way of carrying herself. That ain't the way with Deborah Ann Wall. People like her. This very different ball game that they're playing this time. Her interview on Faye on YouTube was pretty cool. I've said it before, the God of War could be a multiverse, and I'm very interested, says the Malice one. Game's going to age like fine wine. I especially think people are going to slowly start changing their minds when they realize how interwoven it is with God of War 2018 and Ragnarok. I think people are going to change their minds. They're going to be like, this is a significant move for the story. I think it's a significant move for the story of Kratos and the world of God of War. Like, I think it's great. I am absolutely thrilled that this is the route they decided to take. What's up with the sword? Why are people scared of it? I don't know. There are people theorizing that the sword is Merlin. What the hell's up with the cube? You have to understand what they're doing. Okay, I'm gonna make a comparison a little bit. Do you remember in the movie Thor Ragnarok? No, not Excalibur. It's Merlin, because the sword's not talking, the ribbons are. It's not Excalibur, it's Merlin. That's the current claim and leak. Okay, so remember in Thor Ragnarok, they did this thing where they set up a vibe around where Thor ends up. It's very weird. It's like this eclectic collection of people, and they're all very strange and they're all very odd. That's what Everywhen is supposed to be. It's supposed to be like that. You're like, it's this intersection of mythologies and very weird beings. I absolutely love it. It makes it crystal clear. You're like, wait a minute, what is going on? There's not going to be some homogenous move within some pantheon. It's going to be a bunch of different pantheons. You literally have an Egyptian goddess apparently in a relationship with like a Mongol mythological god. I think it was Mongolian, isn't it? You have two gods from two different pantheons like interacting at the very beginning. And if that doesn't make it clear, a freaking cube made of like gelatinous material, which is from D&D, I think it's meant to make it seem like this is a freaking weird place. It's supposed to communicate like head trip, weird. It's supposed to be like a dreamy, odd place. If it was just a bunch of like creatures and monsters, it would still be cool. But the cube sends a loud and clear message. Where the frick are we? What is this place? It's meant to be, it's meant to call you to question it all. It's literally supposed to convey the conversation we're having right now. Why the heck is there a cube in the game? It's doing its job. It's literally doing its job. They're filling our games with uggos now. Devs who design the women. All I've done for you. Have I not given you everything? Thank you so much, Jack Garland, for the $5 super chat. Lots of D&D in there. Yeah, it's like the Island of Misfit Gods. Lee got everything else right, other than it being set before 2018. I love how wacky it is, very Kojima-esque. My girl is not a gamer, and she thought the God of War trailer was amazing. She loved the cat-dog thing. I haven't shown the trailer to my daughter, but my daughter saw the I told her about it. I told Madam about it because Madam and I love Karen Page. We love Deborah Ann Wall. And we love Daredevil. And we love Johnny Bernthal. Like, I'd give him like the biggest bear hug. I just love him. He seems like such a genuine guy. And we love Frank. And so I was excited to tell Madam about the game because I told her before the showcase, I was like, I think Deborah Ann Wall might be the next main character in God of War. And no, I didn't get a chance to show my daughter the clip yet, Fuzzy, because last night I was very, very late, and then I had to put them to bed, and then I was on the on the couch playing Batman with Madam. Thank you for the $2 super chat, Alex. The cube is the Allspark from the planet Cybertron. That's how they're gonna start an entire Transformers game. You talk about the new God of War game? We're talking about it right now. Just don't nap around John. I don't get the reference. Does he pick on people if they fall asleep around him? But I showed my daughter like just the artwork on the PlayStation, and she was so excited. And so I showed her some of the images. She was like, "Oh, she looks awesome. Can I play this game?" So my daughter's 12. And there is a part of me that gets very angry and frustrated when I see these grifters and these bad actors in these spaces hating on these games and trying to make it seem like these games suck and shouldn't be successful. Because I'm looking at my daughter and thinking, you're 12, and I love how excited she got for Yote. And I love how excited she is now for God of War Faye. And it's like, my daughter is a gamer. She throws down in Fortnite, boys. She's racking up wins in Fortnite. She's a gamer. And for her to be exposed to the crap that I'm seeing on the internet, I'm like, Man, I really hope this is all dead and passé by the time that she's old enough to get into these spaces and watch videos and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just disgusting and dumb. It's like, what? There is an ocean of games coming out, and a game coming out like this, if it genuinely doesn't interest you because you're like, I don't want to play as a girl, like, okay, but to attack it and to take bad screenshots and to misrepresent it, I think it's just gross behavior. John Bernthal says, I don't trust people who take naps. That's a pretty extreme case. Now, I myself don't take naps, but the reason I don't take naps is pure pragmatism, right? I can't fall asleep later. I like literally can't fall asleep later in the day if I take a nap. So I don't take naps out of a pure form of it's pragmatic. It's a pragmatic decision. Dad raised a gamer daughter. I mean, I'm not even tried to raise a gamer daughter. They just want to be into the things that I'm into. You know what I mean? And if I sat my daughter down and I was like, no, you don't understand. This game sucks because, you know, the male fantasy is to play as a woman who's overly attractive and half naked, or it needs to be a guy who's ridiculously strong and saving the day. And if it doesn't fit within those frameworks, then the game sucks. I mean, I know you think it looks cool because she's like a warrior and she's got a sword and she's pretty and you think she's awesome, and that's something for you to aspire to, right? Like courage and bravery and loyalty and fighting for her family and like her son and her husband. I know that's something you want to aspire to, but you don't understand, kiddo. This game sucks. Like, imagine. Like, if you think what you're saying is true, imagine communicating that. Imagine doing that. Imagine, like, indoctrinating a young girl with that thought process. How stupid that would be to say. How destructive and idiotic that would be to say to a kid. A rated M game for a youth? Well, no, I'm not going to let her play it. She looks at these games and she's excited to one day play games like these. I didn't let her play Yote. I won't let her play God of War Faye, but she likes the idea that there's games where the hero is a woman. Oh, she's like a ninja. I love ninjas. Like, my daughter loves ninjas. She thinks there's like the coolest thing. And she reads these stories about, like, you know, warrior animals and warrior times, and she thinks it's great. She thinks it's cool. She likes battles and fights and things like that. And for her to see a game like this and to think it's cool, and for me, if you think what you're saying is truth, because that's what we should be doing, we should be trying to say things that are true and honorable and good. If you think that's what you're saying, then imagine doing that. Imagine communicating that absolute refuse to the mind of a child. You know, that's the thing. They know it's not true. It's not true or honorable or good. It's garbage. $10 super chat from Street Shadow. Being a gamer dad is so true. My son is young, but the innocent joy he has seeing Pokemon, or the joy I saw with my kids seeing new Star Wars in the theaters, shows me how we need to support their joy. That's what I mean. Like, people have become so jaded and so calloused and I don't even know how to describe it anymore. It's like I'm excited. I'm excited about these games. I don't know how people can't be excited about these games. You don't have to want to play them. I'm excited for people to play Ace Combat 8. I won't touch it. I won't play it. You know? I'm not, and that's fine. Don't show The Last of Us 2 for at least a decade. Yeah, I'm not going to let them play like the violent games or the mature games until they're much older. Minimum probably like 17. Maybe 16 if I feel like, they could handle it. Who are you talking to, Street Shadow? This dude is a parent and still gelling his hair up. What? Huh? How are those two things connected? What? So, once you become a parent, You're like, you pack it up, man. Just don't even style your hair anymore. Just let yourself go, dude. You know? I'll be 45 this year, and I guess it's time to just give up. Just walk around looking like an unkept slob. You know what I mean? I guess I'm supposed to become like the sitcom version of a dad. You know what I mean? Like beer gut. Zero concern for what I look like. Hey, this guy's a parent. He's still gelling his hair up. He thinks the Laufey game is what's wrong with gaming. Oh, he's one of those. He's a real thinker. We can tell. Yeah. I'm trying to inform you all that Sony is literally one bad step away from crumbling, and continuing to buy from them will only postpone the inevitable. Oh, wow. We got a real genius on our hands. Their most profitable gen ever. They're an inch away from crumbling. Oh, like, as terrible of a gen Xbox had last gen and this gen, Xbox is still around. What makes you think that PlayStation or Nintendo are anywhere close to problems or crumbling? They're absolutely crushing it. Like, I don't understand. Like, if Xbox can survive the abysmal gen of last gen and this gen, I'm pretty sure PlayStation will be okay. You know? Lono, the Celestial Blades and Onimusha demo are absolutely awesome. I can't wait till you play later. I'm very excited. Stop showering, you bootlicker. Not a true gamer. Can you believe this guy? Showering, trimming his beard, putting gel in his hair. What the frick is wrong with this guy? Don't you know you should smell like Famunda cheese? And be so reprehensible and so unlovable? That's the true creed of the gamer. Nobody talks to me at the grocery store. That's how bad I smell. As God intended. See, you're talking kids and games, and then comes the weirdo, irrelevant comments. Gotta love the internet. Yeah, listen. We're talking about it here because this is our community and our space and our content, right? But I'm telling you, on Twitter, on Reddit, on YouTube, don't give it any oxygen. Don't quote tweet, don't retweet, don't reply. It's literally what that's what they're doing. They want you to do that. They don't genuinely think these things. They're saying them. It's intended to provoke. They're provoking you. It's all it is. Once you start thinking not only of yourself and you see your son or your daughter that they look up to you, that's when you truly become a man. All these kids complaining are probably living with mom still. I mean, I think you can truly become, you don't have to link becoming a man to fatherhood. Some people can't have kids or are not in a position to have kids, so you don't want to be that narrow with it. But I do think something pretty significant happens to you when you become a father. I think this is true. So, I think it changes it's changed my perspective on a lot of things. Seeing my daughter get excited about certain things, and she's also a gamer, it really makes me look at a lot of these conversations very differently. So, if you guys haven't hit the like button yet, do me a favor and hit that like button. I appreciate so much for the great turnout. We are pretty much on pace to unlocking the Saturday night stream. 500 on the week, and Madam and I stream on Saturday night, and we will be continuing her journey through Destiny 1, and we appreciate everybody who has continued to tune in for that. If you guys hit stretch goal this week, then Creature has to join us and play Destiny 1 with us, and that will be a fun time. Can I get a recap of the main points? I thought it was a great state of play. It was essentially a showcase, in my opinion. I thought the Wolverine gameplay really put a lot of my concerns to rest. I think it looks fantastic. I think God of War Laufey kind of stole the show. I think it just looks incredible. And both the trailers for both those games are trending like 3 million views in less than 24 hours. Just absolutely incredible. And then the rest of the games are very exciting. Like September is pretty jam-packed. It was exciting to see Onimusha get a release date as well as a demo shadow drop. It was exciting to see Control Resonant get a release date. I wouldn't be surprised if we see one of those games make a move. Onimusha and Control don't really go up against each other, but Ace Combat is also playable on September the 29th with early access. Silent Hill Townfall is playable on the September the 24th. So that little dense spot of games could get one or two games to maybe shift a teeny bit, maybe by just a week. Little bit too jam-packed there. People are scared of October because they know October is going to be just a marketing feast for GTA 6, which is coming out in November. So, are folks liking the demo? I'm hearing good things. I am hearing good things about the demo. We will be checking out the demo probably in like an hour or so. I am very much looking forward to it. Somebody said it's like Sekiro Light, and I was like, oh, you have my attention now. Because I've kind of lost my palate and like my desire to play certain types of games. You know, I just they're not my. I don't really get down with like Souls games and stuff anymore. But I like intense combat. I like really, really good moment to moment, you know, melee based combat especially. So I'm very excited to try out Onimusha. Why do you think so many of the people of those studios are pushing into September instead of summer? Well, I'll tell you why. They were probably scoping projects, timing, marketing, and ship dates away from the summer because GTA 6 was originally supposed to land on May the 26th, which would have made June and July not great spots. April and June especially would have been rough. July, not so much. So, like, they were already kind of scoping the second half of the year. And people play less in the summer as well. It's not a great time. A lot of games don't ship in the summer. You do all your announcements, and then you ship early summer, late summer, not midsummer. So, yeah. $5 super chat from Joker Quinn. Do you think Sony is waiting to reveal the Faye release date until after Wolverine launches? Yeah, I think GTA 6 screwed everything up. I personally think that Wolvie was going to be early September, and then I think Faye was going to be November. We know God of War games like to drop in November. I think GTA 6 screwed the whole thing up. I think it screwed the whole thing up. I think they were going to go for a nice big double whammy second half of this year. They were going to basically go GTA 6, 4 months later, Wolverine, right? 2 months later, God of War Faye. I think they were just going to go boom, boom, boom. That's what I really do think that was the goal. That was the idea. And GTA 6 screwed the whole thing up. It was like, well, once they moved from May to November, I think Laufey had to move. It was like, oh. God of War 2018 was April. Yeah, you're right, but Ragnarok was November, so maybe I shouldn't say they like releasing in November. I think I'm just remembering that both Ragnarok and Valhalla, didn't both of those land in November? So maybe I'm just having like recency bias. You are right. 2018 was early in the year. Wait. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was late. God of War 2018 was April? Why am I thinking it was late? I must be thinking of Ragnarok. Oh, that's right. I was a Destiny content creator then. I'm mixing up Ragnarok. That's right. Ragnarok was late in the year, and so was Valhalla. So I'm having recency bias. So they don't necessarily like launching in November. That's just my gut instinct on it. So Bear says, some people assume others are like them, have lives like them, value things that they value. Some of us recognize that we have no idea what demons people fight in the dark. This is true. Games have become a better medium than film, in my opinion. The downside is the time and financial investment. Oh, for sure. It was 420? Yeah. I just forgot that 2018 was so early in the year because back then I was just covering Destiny full time. I was in the duplex and the dungeon streaming, and I didn't pay much attention to release dates back then because I was just always in Destiny. So, yeah. The original release date was supposed to be November. Didn't God of War 2018 get pushed back from its original release date? Yeah, I think they intended to have God of War release earlier, but again, it landed in November, and then I think so did Valhalla. Didn't the Valhalla update? Oh, that might have been December, because it was like a week after the Game Awards, wasn't it? God of War Valhalla release date. December the 12th. Yeah, it was like basically like, wasn't it like the day of the Game Awards or something crazy? Like, that was wild. They were like, play it right now, I think. I feel like Valhalla was a shadow drop. And that was such a cool update. It was so fun. Yeah, so I think that was kind of what ended up happening. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't hit the like button yet, really, really quickly, make sure that you are hitting the like button. Greatly appreciate it. We're trying to get to 400 likes. Look at our boy Cross. Look at the thumbnail. Look at this guy. He says, "Hey Sony." Oh man. Listen, Cross. We'll probably never do a show together, but I want you to know that I support you and I love what you're doing. I love what he's doing, dude. I went over and subbed to him when he wasn't live so I could get those dadgum emotes. You know? Oh, get it done, Crofts. Appreciate you, bro. Oh man, it's a shame we'll probably never be able to make any content together. I love it. It's harmless. It was totally harmless. Spamming that chat with "We want Destiny 3." Oh, it was good. That's good work. That is good work, boys. You think Laufey is that far in development? I'm thinking 2028. No, it doesn't. I don't know if they've said in development. I don't know where you read that. Jason Schreier says it's not years away. It's not. We're hearing that they started working on it before Ragnarok even shipped. Ragnarok shipped like 4 years ago. So, no. It's a lot closer than people think. Schreier literally said the fact that it doesn't have a release date, he's like, don't freak out. It's not years away. So, I would say the 2028 prediction is probably not an accurate thing. So... The video of the Faye game looked pretty close to end. Yeah, I mean, that looked like a pretty polished product. I think it's first quarter next year. I think Faye is going to be like March or April next year. It's going to be first quarter. They'll get it in before the fiscal year closes. Yeah. We should just harass Sony until D3. We don't need to harass anybody. We don't need to do anything, over the line or uncouth. We don't need to do any of that. You just need to continue to make your voice heard. Anytime Sony has an event, or posts a video or something, or tweets, just say, hey, we just want to make sure you know that we want Destiny 3. It's like that scene in Airplane where he keeps coming up to the front of the cavity. He's like, I just want you to know that we're all counting on you. Just keep saying it to them. Hey, Sony. Yeah. What do you need? I just want you to know that we want Destiny 3. Okay, fine. A couple weeks go by. They put out a trailer for Wolverine. What do you guys think? It's pretty good, but Sony, hang on 1 second before you go. Yeah, what's up? I just want you to know that we want Destiny 3. Just keep it going. Keep telling them. You don't let them have a moment of peace without knowing that game needs to be made. You know what I'm saying? You let them know. And you tell them that Astacross sent you. You know what I mean? Tell them Large Marge sent you. No, you tell them that Astacross sent you, not me. I want him to get all the credit. I want him to get all the credit. You tell him that Astacross sent you. Onimusha. Way of the Sword. Let's get this scheduled for like an hour from now. Okay. Chat summary, leaderboard. We don't need any of that. Okay. Visibility, public. We'll go at 1. Board meeting coming for D3. Large Marge deep cut reference. That's right. Here's the thing that I think Astacross is doing that I think is good, and I don't think people really realize. You're making such a stink that it will enter the conversation. Executives will be talking about it. Shareholders will be asking about it. Alana said that she played that area before she left, and it was just blocks back in December of 2024, and she was impressed how great it looked in the gameplay video. Yeah, she wasn't sure what they were going to show. She thought it was just going to be like a teaser trailer. That's what she thought. She actually wasn't sure if it was going to be that significant of a trailer. She was pretty blown away. So, I was pleased. I like I said, anytime we've watched showcases, I want there to be lengthy, uncut gameplay. Like, those are the things I always say. I always say lengthy, uncut gameplay. That's what I want to see. Don't chop it up, Don't. Oh, here's another thing people are saying they censored. People are claiming that they made this character in Rayman, they made her chest smaller or more covered up. I don't understand what they're talking about. I think they're doing the same thing, right? It's kind of a weird thing to obsess about, but especially in a Rayman game. Anyways. Yeah. Okay. I forget what I was saying. Oh yeah, lengthy, uncut gameplay. Like, that's what I want. That's what I want from a showcase. I don't want things to be chopped up. I don't want things to be highly edited. I do not want simulated gameplay, right? I don't want simulated gameplay. That drives me crazy when we get that. It drives me absolutely nuts. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and run a channel skin for By Any Means, which is a movie that's coming out. It's in theaters September the 4th. It's a gripping crime thriller. So I'll read that ad placement later. We continue to get nice sponsored segments on Twitch. So thank you guys so much for watching on Twitch and the various places that you support me, opening the door for me to get those opportunities. The burnt peanut is missing from the new Fortnite Battle Pass following criticism over his inclusion. Wait. Did they successfully browbeat Epic into not working with the burnt peanut? That's a bad move. I would not at all have bent the knee to those people. Def Side with 51 months. Thank you so much. That is a mistake. Oof. Playing a dumb game. Playing a dangerous game. Gonna work with the burnt peanut and you backed off because of the jokes that he makes. It's 2026 and that's not gonna fly. Not gonna fly. Bad move. Did you miss Turok? Turok wasn't there. This leak photo of her made it look like they scaled down. Yeah, they didn't scale it down. I mean, she's still, she's still bouncing around. I mean, it's a cartoon, so I don't see what the, anyways. Which game banned Peanut? Fortnite was Peanut claims he was not included in any Fortnite skin. Huh? Then what was that image? That was clearly him. It was a Peanut with the little hat. He's claiming he wasn't involved? Then where did that image come from? That was 100%. Come on. That was 100% a reference to him. He claims he wasn't included. Conversation or permission was needed. Is it needed? Yeah, I don't know. His team might have reached out and said, hey, what the frick is that? And then maybe they're not doing it. I don't know. There was a so was this completely fabricated? This entire thing was made up? Oh my gosh, it was fake. I thought it looked so real to me. It looked real. People were spreading the rumor that he was going to be in Fortnite. Fortnite fans are left confused as the burnt peanut gets his own sidekick in the season despite having never really played Fortnite. This little peanut was showing up as a sidekick and people were assuming it was him. And now people are saying that it was fake. Like that's literally him. Every outlet was running with this story. They were saying that the burnt peanut was in Fortnite, was coming to Fortnite. It was everywhere. Every gaming outlet was saying he was coming to the game, and now he's saying it was the whole thing was fake. That's a real image. No, yeah, it's a real image. That's not fake. Look. Homies, that's him right there. If you tell me that's not the burnt peanut, I'm going to tell you that you're a liar. That's the burnt peanut. It's literally got the V-tube eyes and mouth. I'm sorry. It's got the P-tube eyes and mouth, and it's got the hat. That's him. What the frick? That's literally taken directly from the Fortnite, the Fortnite Twitter account tweeted that. Look. This is not fake. This is not made up. This is the official Fortnite account, and there he sits. I don't think they ever said it was in the Battle Pass. Well, it's a pet, so maybe it's coming later. Maybe you'll be able to buy him in the store, and he's not in the Battle Pass. Why did Lona just apologize like he called his mom a bee to her face? The burnt peanut is a P-tuber. Do not call him the other one. Don't do it. That was a huge mistake, and I'm very sorry. Yeah, I don't know. That's clearly him, and that's an official Fortnite tweet. So for him to say he's not involved, I don't know. They clearly have him in that image. That's very, very bizarre. Fortnite Startup Screen Chapter 7 Season 3 has revealed an in-game creature seemingly inspired by the burnt peanut, a streamer accused of being homophobic, allegedly using the F slur and laughing at Cloxy, who appears to have been saying the N-word. Yeah, it's 2026. You're not going to win that fight. If you're going to not work with somebody because of some jokes that he said or jokes people he streamed with said, it's like you know what I mean? That's a bad move. If they back off from working with him and putting him in the game because of the language police cancel culture brigade comes to town, like, I just freaking ignore those people. They're probably not playing Fortnite and spending money in your dadgum game anyway. They're just warring on Twitter over stuff. Like, who the frick cares? He's not a streamer that I would initiate working with and then break ties with over something like that. That's a very, very bad idea. If they've decided to not work with him, that is a huge mistake. Watch the clip of Peanut talking about the Fortnite thing. He sounds like he's keeping it a secret. Promise to see what Epic decides to do. I mean, he's clearly in that image. I don't know what to tell you. So, if you guys haven't hit the like button yet, do me a favor and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit it. Try to get us to 400 likes. I appreciate you guys being here so much. Check your Prime renewals and your sub renewals as well. We are working on a weekly goal, and you can help us with that. We're also trying to get 600 people, 600 paying members on YouTube. And what that means is 600 people willing to press the join button and spend the $5 a month. If you've never done that before on YouTube, give it a try. It's $5. You get a badge, you get emotes in my channel, and then you also get into our members only Discord. He is involved and he will be in the game. He is just playing dumb and avoiding the topic amid the heavy backlash. Yeah. Somebody said, I'd be careful flirting around with the very community that screwed you over. My advice for the day. The Destiny community can't do anything to me, bro. Like, they have no power over me. We are obviously, trying to make moves to get back. So that's a peanut with eyes and a mouth. He can't copyright that design. Fortnite was just trying to capitalize on his success. He can't copyright the design. It's not just a peanut with eyes and a mouth. It's a peanut with literally like copied, like pasted human eyes and a mouth, just like his avatar, and it's wearing the same hat that one of his versions of himself wears. That is 100% grounds for likeness infringement. Are you insane? He could 100% say, if that's not supposed to be him, he could 100% argue and legally probably win and say, that is 100% a likeness with my brand. And you are infringing on my copyright by doing that. You're making it seem like we're working together and we're not working together. There isn't a world where he loses that case. There's no freaking way. There isn't a world. It's not just some random generic peanut. He would absolutely be able to argue that this is his likeness. That is his likeness. The way the eyes are placed, the way that they're cropped, the way that they're human eyes and mouth and color, and then the hat. He would 100% be able to argue that this is branding. This is like a copyright infringement on his branding. No doubt in my mind. That's absurd to think that he wouldn't be able to make that argument. He would. If it was just a random peanut, then sure. But the way the eyes and the mouth are placed, absolutely not. Isn't his avatar a public filter? Yeah, I don't know. It's at this point, though, the way that he puts his face on it and the likeness similarity there would that be an easy slam dunk argument to say this is a clear infringement on my brand if you're doing this without my permission. Yeah, they can put peanuts anywhere they want, but to put the face on it that way and to put the hat on there that way, that is a clear attempt to make it look like him. They would never, ever, ever be able to argue otherwise. Isn't he using existing piece of software to do that? Can't lots of people do the same thing? Yeah, but we're all in these spaces using existing software, but it's his eyes and it's his mouth, I guess would be my argument. Is it's like he has created something that is bespoke with those pieces. Like, you can use pieces of software like assets in Unreal and stuff, and it's your game. Somebody couldn't like directly copy the way your game iconography and logo looks just because you're using assets from like Unreal or something. I'm not exactly sure how the law lands on software like that, but it'd be really, really hard for me to think that he wouldn't get the decision to be like, no, you're clearly making it look like him. Like, it's literally mimicking his eyes and mouth, the shape of his eyes, the color of the lips. Like, it's literally him. Like, they'd have a really hard time, I think, arguing that wasn't the intention of it. You're not wrong about the intent. I'm talking about being able to protect it as unique. Protect it as unique or claim that it is now synonymous with his brand or something? Yeah, I'm not sure. Omar would have to weigh in, like, what kind of a copyright claim he could make about the likeness. Denrock, thanks for using your Prime sub over there on Purple, getting us to $2.79. We're going to find out how she really died, her giant foresight setup, all of this. It's going to be cool to figure out what happened with Faye, for sure. Fortnite item shop leak dates. The Burt Peanut Sidekick hits on June the 6th. You know what June the 6th happens to be? This Saturday. So we'll know then. We will know then. VTubers do have a trademark for their model or design. Isn't the issue that the peanut he's using is not his, right? Didn't he initially just start using it and it's just like one anybody can use, isn't it? I actually don't know. That was what somebody in chat said. I'm not super well versed. Like, I don't actually know. The intent is clearly to confuse the public. That part can't be argued against with a straight face. Well, according to the Fortnite leak Twitter account, and these guys are usually pretty good at getting the leaks, it's an official Burnt Peanut thing. He's working with them. I think he's just being coy. Third-person criticism getting old from that crowd. Thank you for the $2 super chat, Chip. I don't really care about that criticism because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make an ounce of sense. I have played so many third-person games. Soros feels completely and utterly different than 007 First Light. I'm not like playing 007 First Light like bemoaning the fact that it's third person. Like, yeah, another third-person game. Blah. Like, they're vastly different. The people that make the third-person criticism, they'll never make it consistently. They'll never make it consistently. So none of those people would be like, yeah, I got kind of bored in 007 First Light because it was just another third-person game. They won't do that. They won't. They'll only make it against Sony games. Because it's literally a talking point for the tribal drum. They know that it's a bankrupt criticism. It's not a genuine criticism. They know that it's not. Him and his friends were talking about it in their streams later this week. I'm positive it's a thing. Imagine calling third-person games samey, but never bringing up first-person games. Nobody's going to play through Gears of War and be like, oh, here we go, another third-person game. Nobody's going to do that because it's a stupid criticism. It is. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to be unkind to people and like overly harsh, but the criticism is stupid. It's literally vapid and empty. It's only stated because I'm going to tell you something right now. One of the reasons these criticisms are so consistently stupid and vapid is because they're easy to repeat and they're easy to remember. They're post-it notes on the small minds of haters is all they are. Movie games, third person. No gameplay. That's all they are. That's why the criticisms are so vapid and empty. They're easy to remember for the small minds of haters. You know what I mean? That's why they're always so vapid and empty. It has to be very easy for dumb people to remember them. I mean it. I mean it. That's why these extremely just intellectually bankrupt, not backed by facts, just vapid, empty criticisms, that's why they exist. They're easy to remember. Dumb people have an easy time remembering these things. Movie game, third person, no gameplay. And they'll say it, and they'll say it, and they'll say it, and they'll say it, because it's easy to remember. You know, what happened the other day, yesterday, when people were like, Lono, why didn't you like God of War Sons of Sparta? Why? I had a hard time remembering. Why? Because it was nuanced. It was specific criticism. Like, I had to remember, like, wait, okay, I haven't played the game in a while. I've probably played 15 games in the span of time since I played God of War Sons of Sparta, and I'm getting older. So it took me a second to start the engine of, like, wait, why didn't I like God of War Sons of Sparta? And then I remembered forward momentum, contact damage, you know, the movesets weren't that great, the platforming wasn't that great, foreground to background, you know, designation in the art style was pretty poor. It took me a while to get there. You know what's easy to remember when you see any trailer for any PlayStation game? Another third-person game, another movie game, no gameplay. There's no nuance. There's no analysis. They're not breaking down the animations. They're not breaking down the movesets. They're not breaking down the combat. Why? That takes intelligence, and that takes actual, effort. But it's easy to parrot brain-dead talking points and just repeat them because, it's easier to fit that into the small minds of the hate brigade. It's just so much easier for them to remember. It's a lot harder to take the time to be like going, and if they actually did that, then they'd realize, oh wow, this combat's actually pretty dope, or this combat's actually pretty diverse, or there's actually a lot of moves and different things that you can do within this gameplay. It's not as one note as I'm trying to make it sound. You're dumb as a counter to their criticism doesn't work either. I'm not countering it. I'm saying it's vapid and empty criticism. It's not based on the games themselves. They don't do any analysis. Are you listening to what I'm saying? I'm saying the reason that it's always like a talking point that's vapid and thoughtless, it's easy to remember. That's why they're always the same. It's like it's easy to remember. Like, they're not going to break down and discuss the depth of combat, movesets, and weapons in Yote. They're just going to say, oh yeah, just another movie game. No gameplay. But if you actually played the game, you would never think that. Same with the God of War games. Same with the Horizon games. Same with The Last of Us. Like, that takes effort and time. Even in a game I played this year, it was difficult for me to remember why I didn't like God of War Sons of Sparta. I had to remember all those like finer points of criticism. That takes effort. You actually have to break down what it is you don't like about like movement or gameplay or like moment-to-moment player volition or boss design, world design, level design. That takes effort and that's difficult. It's easy to just yell movie game. It's easy to yell no gameplay. That's easy to do, because it's not analysis. You're just repeating a talking point. Like I said, it's post-it notes on the small brains of haters. They can just pull off and yell in a chat. There's no thought behind it. Intelligent people wouldn't be satisfied by that level of analysis. They wouldn't. Like, an intelligent person wouldn't be satisfied by that. They'd be like, you're not saying anything. Imagine sitting in a college class and you're breaking down like the Grapes of Wrath. And some guy's like, I thought it was boring. Would the professor be like, thank you. That is very thoughtful and thorough. No. They'd be like, why is it boring? Is there something wrong with the pacing? The character arcs? Is the tension too drawn out? Are there too many threads? Is it hard to follow? Is it hard to keep everything straight? Do they hop from chapter to chapter too much? Like, what's the issue? Why is it boring? Like, an intelligent person would never, ever accept that level of analysis. So when you hear these things, you know what you're getting. You're getting something that's thoughtless and vapid, because that's the extent of that person's that's either their willingness or that's their capacity of thought. That's all they got. That's all they got. Like, that's either their capacity, or that's just their willingness. Like, they just don't freaking care. They just like to hate. It's either a lack of care. Like, they don't care. They're like, yeah, let's just hate and scream and say mean things about games because that's fun. Or that's literally their thought capacity. Neither is a good look. One's a lack of character. The other's a lack of intelligence. Take your pick. I think the coolest part will be discovering all these parts that she influenced. Single golden hand in the path that Faye already went through was also going to find out how she really died. Thank you for the 100 bits. I'm getting to your comments now, Mr. Get That. I appreciate your comments. Her giant foresight set up all of this and maybe the path that she's been talking about. Odin knew he wasn't going to Valhalla when he was super interested in what happens after he dies. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a villain again in this. Oh, yeah, I think Odin's showing up for sure. I think it'd be cool if Odin is an antagonist again, or Zeus came back. The fiery guy was Bext, the Mongolian god of war. I'd bet my right hand that him and Kratos will battle at some point. Oh, yeah. The Mongolian god of war is going to be one of the main recurring enemies in the game. For sure. Let's be fair, we can't ask why one time. They may not have bad intentions. I think a person's willingness to say negative things about a game, to the degree with which these people do it, they have, I think, almost all of them have full knowledge that what they're saying is not genuine criticism. I don't need to know their intentions. I now know the level of integrity they have. I know their integrity and their character is lacking. Their willingness to make it personal, their willingness to call names, their willingness to be negative and toxic and hate on something, and they know what they're saying is not genuine. They know that it's not a fair piece of criticism. I think they know that. They have enough intelligence to know that what they're doing is thoughtless. They know that it's not a good faith thing to say, and I think that speaks to character and integrity. I do. I don't know. I'm in friendship and relationships with grown men and business owners and dads and grandpas. And I'm like, I can't imagine any of these guys spending their time doing this. I would lose so much respect for them. Imagine finding out that like a mentor and somebody that you look up to is spending their time doing this. It would really make you question, like, what the heck? Why are you doing that with your time? A different opinion isn't toxic. Nobody's saying a different opinion is toxic. I'm saying willfully running false talking points about games is toxic. Saying, oh, it's just a movie game with no gameplay. Oh, all their games are third person. It's like, you know what you're saying is empty and vapid. You know it's not genuine criticism or analysis. You know it. You know it. And a hit dog barks. Like, people don't like when I say this sort of thing because it's like, they're not entering the conversation as like adults with the intention of having an actual conversation. Because I'd be happy to talk with people about like why maybe they thought, combat in, Ragnarok wasn't as good. Or maybe they thought that the story wasn't very good in Spider-Man 2. I actually thought the analysis of Spider-Man 2's story from many people that were critical was totally fair. I did not like the story nearly as much in Spider-Man 2. That's not the same as the people that are like were being toxic about it and calling it woke or saying, that it was just another movie game with no gameplay. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, the people that are willingly coming into these spaces, and that's what they always contribute, the same talking points, it's a lack of integrity and character. They're not doing it in good faith. They're not doing it in a genuine way. They're doing it to be, hateful and to disrupt and to cause problems. I'm serious. It's a lack of character and integrity. That's just not something mature adults do. We can't police others' opinions. It's not against the law. Well, I mean, you're straw manning and shadow boxing. I'm not saying anything about policing others' opinions. I'm diagnosing why they do it. They either do it because they lack the ability to, they lack intelligence. They can't really break down games and analyze them, so they just resort to diatribes and, easy talking points. Or it's just a lack of willingness. They don't want to. They just want to tear something down, and it's easy to do with prepackaged talking points. So it's either a lack of intelligence or a lack of willingness. I think in both cases, I just think it really speaks to the person. It's like, wait, why are you doing that? Imagine if I did that. Imagine if I, bad faith, bad faith was like saying, all car games are the same, all fighting games are the same. You'd be like, why are you doing that? It would be so out of character for me to do that. Yeah, all fighting games are the same. They're just button mashy and they suck. They're boring. People are like, what? All racing games are the same. I mean, you just hold the button down and steer. It's so boring. People be like, what are you saying? What are you saying? That's bad faith. It's disingenuous. It's not an actual form of analysis. I'm just hating. That would make people really question. They'd be like, huh? They'd be like, why are you saying that? It seems like you're just hating. It seems like you're just being toxic. It would really speak to my character if I did that. I honestly think these games have too many cutscenes, and I want more gameplay. I don't think it makes me stupid and not in good faith. I'm just criticizing a game you like. Well, but see, what you're doing right now is you're not parroting talking points. You're expressing your own preference and opinion, which is totally fine. I'm not talking about what you just did. What you just did is totally fine. You can totally say, I would like less cutscenes. I'll give you an example of when I do this. When I play a rogue like Realm of Ink that I played the other day, or I play like a side-scroller Metroidvania like Shinobi Art of Vengeance, I don't want a bunch of story and a bunch of interruptions. I tend to click through. I'm just like, I don't care. That's just my preference. There are people that are going to watch those cutscenes, listen to the dialogue, and it's going to help them get more immersed. It doesn't do anything for me. I typically button mash my way through story in like a side-scroller or a Metroidvania. I enjoyed the story in Ori 1 and 2 and watched all those scenes. But like a Shinobi Art of Vengeance, I'm just like click, 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 9 souls, click, 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 click. Like, I just don't care. That's my preference. You can have that same preference, and you're like, yeah, I don't like the fact that when I play a game like God of War, there's all these cutscenes, and they disrupt the flow. I think it's very weird to go into a game like God of War where the story is such a significant aspect of the value proposition and be like, get out of here, I just want gameplay. That's your preference and you're free to have it. You're not doing thoughtless criticism when you say what you just said. But if you came in here during the Faye trailer and you said, here we go, boring, third-person camera movie game with no gameplay, that's bad faith. That's disingenuous. That's not a fair criticism. It's vapid. It's empty. There's tons of gameplay in that trailer. Yes, there's also cutscenes. There's also transitional moments where she's just moving through spaces and looking around. It's the beginning of the game. They're setting the tone. They're telling a story. They're getting you into it. Like that's how these games open. There's an art form to setting a game like this up. So, I think a lot of the times, people think what I'm taking issue with is, oh, and this is what they'll do. They will, in bad faith, misrepresent everything I'm saying and say, you're not allowed to dislike something. Reforge Gaming is such a pony. He'll get angry if you dislike the PlayStation games or if you're critical of PlayStation games, and he'll call you stupid. That's not what I'm doing. I'm talking about people who specifically parrot disingenuous bad faith talking points that they know are not actual analysis of the games. It's just tribal hatred drums to bang on. If you're actually breaking down combat flow, pacing flow, story flow, and you're like, yeah, I just don't like that. It's just too much. It's just too many cutscenes. That's fine. That's your preference. You are allowed to have that preference. There's zero wrong with that. That's not at all what I was talking about. It's like going into Pizza Hut and complaining there's too much pepperoni and cheese everywhere. I love the Spider-Man games. Can you imagine them doing a game like that in first person to be more immersive? I only say this because in the Doom games, it's up close and the combat feels more personal. I don't think you would get the sense of movement and swinging in motion in Spider-Man if you were in first person. I think seeing him actually helps. Creature says, just to play devil's advocate, I get what you're saying, but there are those that think your FPS takes are the same thing as mad cause woman, which is stupid, but stupid will think stupid. What first person takes? All I've ever said about first person is that, especially first person shooters, is that I say it's particularly hard to innovate within first person shooter space because first person shooters have been around for 30 years. So it's hard to iterate on something that's been around since Wolfenstein and Doom. I've never said that they're bad or they're boring. I'm just like, it's extremely hard to iterate in a first person perspective because there's only so much you can do for like first person shooting. I think you meant frames per second. Frames per second. There are those that think your FPS takes are the same as mad cause woman. Anybody that thinks that's so stupid, I don't care what they think about me. Why would I care about somebody's opinion that is so incredibly dumb? They think that my take on frames per second is the same as mad cause woman. No, that's a quality issue. If your game is running at like 30 frames per second in 2026, and my preference is like I don't want to play it because it looks bad, it's arguably stuttery and blurry and it makes it hard to see the artwork. If someone thinks that's an equivalent to people being mad because of a woman, that person's so stupid. Why would I care what they think about me? I might as well ask a crazy bum what he thinks of my budgeting. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if that's somebody's opinion of my thoughts on frames per second, that person's so mentally small. Like, why would I care what they think? Good night. Like, that's such not an equivalency. They're not even on the landscape of conversation if they think those things are equivalent. Like, frames per second is a performance issue that can literally make the game feel bad. It can affect input latency. It can make the immersion break. It can make a game stutter, hitch. It can literally affect the way the game operates and functions. That is not an equivalency to somebody being like, I don't want to play the game because there's a woman in it. Those are not equal. Anybody who thinks those things are equal, they're so far gone on the intelligence spectrum. They're never going to understand anything I say for the most part anyway. That bum may be good with money. He just doesn't have any. I'm not siding with it. No, I'm not saying you're siding with it, but like if anybody's going to draw that equivalency, that person's too stupid to engage with. I mean that. Like that person is so either being so willfully stupid, they're not worth engaging with because they're attempting to be stupid. Like they're making a dumb argument on purpose. Or that's literally their level of intelligence. Why in the world? What? The gaming world has gotten to a point where frames per second, 60 especially, is the standard. We have this in the data from Sony themselves. We have this just in the public's response to when a trailer is 30 FPS, people are starting to remark and say that it doesn't look good and it looks stuttery. I was pointing out how they get stupid to follow them. Well, right, like you're dealing with an environment where from the beginning, the person's commitment is not to having a discussion or integrity or being good faith. That's not their commitment. Their commitment is, I'm going to rile people up and I'm going to get them to engage. So they'll say whatever is necessary. It's like when a child throws a tantrum in the store. They pull out all the stops. It's no different. It's no different. It's like you're literally saying whatever you can. You're pulling out all the stops. You're going to say whatever you can to get the reaction and to get people riled up. So they'll draw terrible false equivalencies and they'll say things like that. Because it's not designed to be like a logical, reasoned argument. It's literally designed just to stir people up. So the minute you start engaging with it, it's just a waste of time. It would be like, it's like trying to have a cooking show with a person that just wants to have a food fight. You're engaging with the food in such a different way, it's going to be completely unproductive. It's like, yeah, I'm wanting to have this great cooking show, and I want you to be my co-host. And the person's like, heh heh, and they're just like throwing tomatoes and cheese and chocolate in your face. And you're like, we're never going to be able to do this. That's literally what happens in these spaces. Like, I'm trying to do this with the food, and you're trying to do that with the food. We're never going to meet. We're never going to meet. There's no conversation to be had. There's no debate to be had. It's why I don't ever pull up that kind of content and react to it or defend myself. Because I'm like, I'm trying to have a cooking show with all the pieces of food that are the games and the topics, okay? And you just want to have a food fight. You just want to take the games, weaponize them so that you can throw them at people. Pony, shill, bootlicker, right? Tourist. They're literally taking the games and just using them like that. They're just weaponizing them to attack and name call. And I'm like, I'm not trying to do that. That's not what I want to do with these topics and these spaces. I want to talk about the games and innovations within gameplay. That's why I got so excited when the guy from Housemark was like, if I get more, CPU power or GPU power on a future console, he's like, I want to make the world more reactive and more alive. He didn't start talking about like resolution and frame rate. That's the kind of stuff that gets me jazzed, because I'm like, well, this guy's going to put, effort into the right spaces. Like, he's got the right idea. That's the stuff that's interesting to me. But if people are like, you just like Soros because you're a cuck and you like PlayStation. Like, okay, there's no reason for me to have a conversation with you. You're trying to have a food fight, and I'm trying to make a meal. That we can't. This won't be productive. I think that's the best analogy I can come up with. It's like your intentions here, your efforts here, what you think's enjoyable and fun, that we're never ever going to meet and make productive anything. That's why I appreciate your content, says Chrono. We have very similar POVs. Yeah, I've found that anytime we've been on a show together, Chrono, we're very much on the same wavelength on things. I think that's why, to me, it's like we're coming into these spaces with different goals and different desires, and it's why, like, I just immediately checked out with certain folks. It's like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with you, and I don't want to ever watch your content or respond to your content, because we don't have the same goals, aspirations, and affinities. We're completely different. Now, you can be completely different and be opposites and still have a good time with people. Like, I had a good time when I had King David on the show. He approaches this environment very differently than me, different ideas, different viewpoints. But the minute he starts talking business and he's not doing like the console war thing, and he admits he likes the console war, he thinks it's fun. But the minute he's not doing that and he's doing business analysis, it was interesting that we agreed on almost everything. And that's why I decided that I could do content with certain people and get along with certain people, because they're not entering the space to have a food fight. There is some bombast, there is some showmanship, and he hams it up, and he likes to goof around and have fun. But there's no malice in it. He's not trying to like weaponize stuff and throw it at me and turn it into a fight. He's just playing a part. He's having fun. Same with Doc Dark. That's what opened my eyes to all of this. I don't even know what we were talking about. But somebody in chat was losing their dadgum mind about Doc Dark. And I was like, you have got to see him for what he is. He's just goofing around and having a good time. You shouldn't be holding that much anger in your heart for a guy that's just goofing around. He's just goofing. And it made me realize there were other guys in these spaces that had no malice in what they were doing. They were just having a good time. And you can console war, I think, and do it in a fun way that is just goofing. And not doing it in a mean and toxic way. Now, I'm still going to say the arguments are vapid and silly, or they're not intellectually backed. There are certainly people that make these arguments, and they know what they're saying is silly. They know what they're saying is disingenuous. It's part of the deal. That's why I'm okay with it. I was like, well, yeah, you know what you're saying is silly. You know what you're saying is crazy, right? Distraction during the fight, seeing the cube hit the enemy occasionally. I actually like the cube. I love it. I love the memes. I love everything about it. It's just got such a weird, we're in a weird, crazy place vibe. I can't stand the stupid point of views. I just want good games, good characters, and good gameplay. And in my opinion, I would say PlayStation tend to have better games in that regard. PlayStation completely won me over this generation with their games. That's why I got frustrated and people started saying, well, you're a pony and you're just saying that because you're a shill. And it was like, I don't know what to tell you. I came into this generation as an Xbox guy, and PlayStation won me over, and they did it with games. They planted the seed with Spider-Man and God of War 2018. When I was a Destiny creator, they planted the seed. And I was like, man, these guys make great. Oh my gosh, their games are insane. And then this gen, I slowly started. Well, then I played Forbidden West, Horizon Zero Dawn was pretty dope. I rushed it because I wanted to play Breath of the Wild back when it came out. But then Forbidden West, and then Ragnarok, and then I finally got to play Tsushima on a PlayStation 5 at 60 FPS. And I was like, I'm sorry, I like these games so much more than anything I've ever played on the other side. I like these games so much more than anything Nintendo's ever made too. And Nintendo is like literally the seedbed of me becoming a gamer, but like PlayStation won me over. Not because they're PlayStation. I was never like, oh, I love PlayStation. PlayStation's my jam. I didn't have a PlayStation 1, 2, or 3. I bought a PlayStation 4 Pro to play Spider-Man and God of War. Like, that was when I finally got into the PlayStation ethos. Now, I had a PlayStation 4 before that, but it was just to play Destiny. And so now that we're 6 years in, and it's like people want to do this nonsense where, like, they're like, he's just a pony and he's a shill and this, that, and the third. It's like, yeah, you're just lying about me, and you know you're lying about me. It's willful deception. It's like, you know my history as a gamer. You've heard me say these diatribes. You've heard me go through my history, and you know what my preferences are and why I landed on PlayStation. Yet you still run the narrative. It's very, very, it's a huge indictment of your character when you continually and willingly do that to somebody. And many people, I think, are starting to vibe with the content here and the conversations and how I talk about these games, because I think a lot of people have come to the same conclusion. Oh yeah, these games are great. These guys make great stuff. I really trust them. I trust these studios. I like this franchise. I like these games. I think more and more people are landing in that lane because it's about the games. It's about the games. It's always been about the games. The problem in school, don't talk about how women shape the world. For example, the ruler of who led her nomadic armies to defeat Cyrus the Great, the founder of the Persian Empire. I don't think that's necessarily the problem, bro. Students of history know that women play significant roles, whether some of the more historic queens, as well as just yeah, I mean, there are figures within history that people know are insanely formative with respect to entire civilizations that have risen and fallen, as well as just being leaders and warriors. Students of history know these things, and you're taught these things. I don't think it's a lack of education. I really don't. I don't think that's why people vibe and resonate with a lot of the, oh, if it's got a woman in it, they're immediately skeptical and stuff like that. I think there was a Welsh, I believe he was a Welsh preacher. Let me make sure I'm right on this. Let's see here. I want to get his yeah, he was a Welsh minister. His name was David Martin Lloyd Jones. He was a Welsh minister, and before he was a minister, he was a medical doctor. And he talked about how there were surgeons that would develop a surgeon's eye. And they would look at every malady through the lens of surgery. Everything should just be surgical. And any good medical doctor knows that all surgery is different levels of severity of being invasive. It will lead to rehab. It will lead to recovery. There's different levels of severity, but all surgery is invasive at a ground level. And obviously, he's a Welsh minister, and I don't even know how long ago it was. So this is even before things have gotten more advanced. Because now you can get your appendix out and go home the same day, unless it's ruptured like mine was. And then I was in the hospital for like a week learning how to walk again without a walker. That's how stiff I was from the surgery. And so he's talking about how surgeons develop a surgeon's eye. They see everything through the eye of a surgeon. Everything should be surgery. Everything should lead to surgery. So I think what has happened is there are people that have developed a view of the world that is always through the lens of a battle. They justifiably feel attacked, villainized, disenfranchised. there was a stretch there where men, especially young men, were consistently villainized, attacked, and maligned as the problem. Society is all of our problems and everything. Like, this is why 2020 was so effective in canceling me, because men were viewed as the villain. So if you did anything, even the slightest faux pas, the slightest social faux pas was viewed as like, you are the devil. So I think a lot of these guys justifiably feel like a caged animal. They feel like they've been attacked, they've been devalued, they've been maligned by culture. So they've developed, that's the lens they view reality through. So I want you to imagine somebody that feels that way, somebody that's viewing things in that way, they will see a God of War game without Kratos and Faye. That's an attack. That's an encroachment, because they're viewing things through that lens. They have been so soaked and steeped in the fight that they can't see it any other way. It's like the surgeon who sees everything through the surgeon lens. Everything is an opportunity for surgery. Everything is an opportunity for a battle if you've been in this fight for this long. So, like, I totally get why they feel that way, and I totally get what led them to this. I at some level, I think their anger and their animosity is completely justified. It is. I lived through the exaggeration of how evil a man can be over like the most minor things, and false victims are, I think, some of the most disgusting people, because they absolutely make things harder for real victims, and they take advantage of the system that we were in back then, and they're just false victims. They're not even crying wolf, right? It's not crying wolf. It's like, it's just you're LARPing as a victim. So I think some of their anger is justified, but I think that's literally that's what it stems from. It's like, man, why is he so angry? Why is everything a battle? That's why. They've developed the caged animal's eyeballs. They feel like a caged animal. They feel like everything's a fight and everything's an encroachment, and you're trying to take things away from us. You're trying to make us be the bad guy and make us be the villain. And that's why something as simple as Deborah Ann Wall, of all people, being the main character in a God of War game, that's an opportunity for fighting. And that's what frustrates me, because I have a master's in counseling, so I see people that are in this hurt sort of position, and I'm like, good golly, you're going to people that they're writing a prescription for the very thing that they continue to foster in you. Like, they're fostering this anger and this paranoia and this frustration, and they're also then handing you the prescription, which is just more of their videos to be angry. And it's like, I just think that's just so insidious. I think that's so insidious. It's like, I end up feeling bad for the dudes that, like, watching the content, and man, they are convinced there is some fight, there's some battle, and they're out to get us and ruin us, and it's like, homie, it's just a video game with a cool character. That's all it is. You're not in danger. Nobody's out to hurt you or get you. I mean, maybe there are people, but not to the degree that a lot of these guys think. And I end up feeling bad for them. I'm like, gee, many Christmas. It's just like, you're probably extremely lonely. You're probably very much, always inside, always online, and just in a state of just anger. It just isn't healthy. And it's like, good night. How are the things that are supposed to give us worlds to experience and places to escape to cope with frustrations in life, or to deal with maybe the job that you hate or the relationship that's not going well? Like, that's what these games are supposed to be, and they're being turned into, stages for grifters and con artists to convince you all these games are terrible and they're hurting the culture, and they're out to ruin your day. And it's just like, oh my gosh, it's just, I think it's unfortunate. Yeah, that's exactly right, Creator 98. It's just a continual, perpetual cycle. Rare Killer, thank you for the gifted member. I didn't shout that out. We're exactly 20 members away from 300, and in a little bit we are switching to Onimusha. And listen, in the wake of something like that, like watching some amazing presentation from Santa Monica, it truly to me was bewildering. I thought this is the time people are going to admit, you know what? I honestly thought some of the the bad actors in the space would be like, yeah, this is how you do a story with a female lead. She's awesome. But no, it's like they're just so committed to the grift. It's like you absolutely cannot give any ground to any game like this. Even somebody with an attractive lead who is a geek and a gamer, Deborah Ann Wall, she's awesome, she's charming. Even her, even if she can't win, you're good, man. I knew you were monologuing. Yeah, I don't like to interrupt it. I'm 91% sure no one at Sony Santa Monica is trying to hurt anyone, but I would bet there's a girl in accounting that steals from people's lunches. I look at video games as what they are, fictional stories to interactively enjoy. Yeah, and like I said, I'm not going to... There are guys that go the distance, Birdman and others. They want to go the distance, and they want to react to videos, and they want to break down the arguments, and they want to have the debate. I'm just not interested. I don't want to do that. If I felt like I could have somebody on the show that was going to at least approach it from a reasonable, like more intellectual place, I think maybe that could be productive. But a lot of these guys they don't want to do that. They're not going to want to... They're not going to want to do that. Why is this saying there's 30 minutes left on this channel scan? I started it 50 minutes ago. What the heck? I don't have a timer now. I don't know when it's going to end. If they don't commit, they lose their base of viewers. Destroyer, thank you so much for 6 months. I appreciate it so much. Let me add you to the total. Birdman is great. I love his content. I don't agree with everything he says. He had a couple of, videos that I didn't really agree with, like how he approached them. And there were some things he talked about that I thought were, there were some things he touched on that I thought were in kind of bad taste. I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, like his recent back and forth on stuff. I just thought, yeah, like he made good points, but then I also thought it would have been better to not have it like riddled with insults and I also thought that there was room for conversation there, and I felt like some of it was misrepresented. I was like, yeah, I don't think that you properly necessarily represented everything, but he's got that whole series, and I would rather be like, listen, I don't want that to get any more oxygen than it needs, but I'm just going to continue to posture and say and position my arguments on the facts and on the games and on the gameplay, and just not give room to a lot of that. And I'm also not going to go out of my way to engage, because it ends up getting it more, interaction, more traction. Talking about it here doesn't do that, but like pulling up a video and reacting to it, or a tweet and reacting to it would. Thank you, Eve, for the renewal. So he does do a lot of ad homs, usually in response to ad homs, but yeah, I get it. Yeah. It's a personal preference thing. I think the minute you start getting into that, he's just calling them effing this and effing that. I'm like, I just feel like it ends up kind of hurting the content a little bit. But, it's his own verbal sparring, and if he wants to handle it in that way, that's his prerogative. It's his content. There's a new combat first look video about God of War Laufey. Well, we do need to switch gears. I do want to check out the Onimusha demo. It dropped last night. I'm hearing really good things about it, so I'm very excited to give it a try. Hilly says we need 18 members to stay on target. It is true. We need 18 members to stay on target. Capcom having a generational run this year. Jiminy Christmas. This is in the RE engine. Display language, English. Voice language. I am going to set it to... Let's see here. Let's set it to Japanese. I thought the English voice acting, I didn't like it in the trailers. Subtitles show, audio mix, prioritize performance, fix it at 60. Yeah, fix it at 60, I would think. Color blindness, dismemberment. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Enter your age. You can enter the age of 1, it says. That's kind of weird. You use quality of 120, real smooth. My my capture card doesn't like 120, so I just run everything at 60. I've never wanted to go through and do all the configurations to 120. Like, I've had so much better experiences by just hang on. Camera movement, vertical, reverse. Camera shake is off. Okay, cool. Okay. And then we'll go here. It's Gene Park. That's on my Twitter feed. Okay. Okay. All right, I'm going to need a brief break before we switch gears. Give me 1 second. sunburn and a stubbed toe. You'll be fine. The book showed up, I should say. The Heart of the Naga. The Bird That Drinks Tears. This is what that game is about, the Chicken Man game. Very excited to read that. Just came out, and I was ready. I had it pre-ordered and everything. Okay. God of War Jello Jiggler won't sell well. No, it's gonna sell incredibly well. It and Wolverine both are trending and have it's got like 3 million views, and the like ratio is actually 2-to-1. It's gonna do very well. The predictions about its commercial success are hilarious to me. It's like you're not even paying attention to how well the game is trending and how big the God of War franchise is. People are very, very much big time misfiring in their predictions about that game. Gonna be another misfire from the haters, just like they did with Yote, and then they'll deny that it sold well even when they're told that it was sold well by the earnings calls. Is that thing done? Okay, the channel skin is done. Okay, I'm going to do a quick Streamer Red ad before we switch to Onimusha. You guys may have noticed on Twitch we had the By Any Means channel skin. So this little segment here is also sponsored by Any Means. It's going to hit theaters September the 4th. By Any Means is a gripping crime thriller about justice by any means and taking matters into your own hands. It blends investigation, murder mystery, and escalating suspense into the must-see theatrical experience. At its core, the film is about two unlikely allies who are united by a shared cause. So, it's a shocking real story. It's never been told before. The FBI buried the case, and audiences finally get to uncover it together. Okay, so it's about when the system fails you, right? You're gonna fight back. So it has Mark Wahlberg and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. Elegance Bratton is the director, who brings a grounded, character-driven approach to the material and elevates the film beyond traditional crime thriller. So I'm not going to run trailers because those get like copyright claimed or whatever, but it is sponsored. This segment is sponsored them By Any Means. And again, the film is releasing in September. A lot of action, a lot of drama. I actually really, really like Mark Wahlberg as well. And I'm going to look up Yahya. I feel like that name is familiar to me for a reason. He is from Wonder Man and Matrix Resurrections and Aquaman. Okay. I was going to say, I recognize that name. So yeah, he is in By Any Means with Mark Wahlberg. He was also looks like he was in the Watchmen TV show as well. So he's been in quite a bit. Good for him. So, again, be sure to check that out. He's Black Manta. He's Black Manta too. So he's done quite a bit. Huh. Okay. All right. I need to change directories over here. Onimusha. I'm gonna wait for the ad segments to be over. Aquaman 1 and 2, he's the villain. I remember Aquaman 1. I didn't watch much of Aquaman 2. Yeah, so again, it's called By Any Means. September the 4th, Mark Wahlberg and Yaya are both in it. And Elegance Bratton is the director. Really quickly before the ad segment ends, we can look up that director before we go over into this game. Elegance Bratton has done things like The Inspection. I don't recognize any of these. So he did Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance. He's an American filmmaker and photographer. He began his career in the 2010s. He's directed and produced a variety of projects, including the short film Walk For Me, the reality television series My House, and the documentary film Peer Kids. So that is the director. Okay, here, while we're waiting for this, I can do one more thing. All right, save image. All right, live discussion was about 15 minutes in, if I remember right. Oh, he was in the Man on Fire Netflix show as well? Man. All right, you guys on YouTube, I'm going to get you a link. You guys on Purple, you're not going to have to do anything for this next segment. We'll be playing Onimusha, Way of the Sword. It's a demo, and I'll be playing on the PS5 Pro. All right. Switch directories. Okay. Okay. Music's got some vibes going. No, I've not gotten to watch Wonder Man. We've not been watching a lot of shows lately. All right, there's the link in chat. If you guys want to head over, hit the like button and go crazy. No worries about spoilers. This is a demo, so it's not going to be something that you don't want to worry about, like spoilers and things like that. So use that link in chat to head over to the new stream. Thank you so much for checking out this video. This is going to be me playing through Onimusha gameplay. This is the demo. So this is Onimusha Way of the Sword gameplay on the PS5 Pro. There is a demo available. It went live during the State of Play. I'm going to end the previous stream. We did a State of the Play reaction. If you want to see what I thought about that and all the various games, you can check that out. I'm going to end that stream and redirect folks over, and we're going to dive right in. Somebody in our Discord said this is like Sekiro Light, which got me very excited to check.